Hollywood, starting from animation. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301, Waterworld Animation Rise. Since the premiere of Finding Nemo, in the next 2 days, the WB-TV network broadcasted the trailer of Finding Nemo during prime time every night. What? The picture of a good box office is magnificent. That's right. When countless viewers saw the trailer, they were immediately attracted by the clear and beautiful pictures. Okay, the Waterworld animation company that produced this animation turned out to be the producer of Little Pig Page and SpongeBob SquarePants. Quite a few viewers were shocked. No way. Behind the scenes is behind the scenes in many cases. The works produced by production companies have a considerable reputation within a certain range, but when it comes to the production companies and directors behind the scenes, there are bound to be very few people who know it. For example, after Marvel launched the Iron Man movie, the name of Iron Man quickly gained great popularity around the world. However, Marvel is still not well known by people outside the United States. However, once it is said Spider-Man and the Hulk are also works of Marvel, so you will definitely scream with the launch of Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3 and Avengers. Marvel is well known all over the world and recognized by many young audiences. The same is true of Waterworld animation. You're on the street, and you ask a passerby randomly, asking, "Do you know Waterworld Animation Company?" Certainly not a few passers-by will know about it, but if you ask, "Have you heard of Peppa Pig and SpongeBob SquarePants?" Well, most passers-by will nod their heads nowadays, when Waterworld Animation is promoting the Finding Nemo movie. Bundling SpongeBob SquarePants and Peppa Pig can definitely play a huge role in publicity. Oklahoma. It is a state located in the south-central United States, bordered by Missouri and Arkansas to the east, New Mexico and Texas to the west. Oklahoma has a land area of 181,000 square kilometers, roughly equal to Guangdong province, or only 20,000 square kilometers less than Jiangsu and Zhejiang combined. With such a vast land area, the population of the whole state is only over 3 million by 2020. It will only have a population of close to 4 million, which is a typical state with a large area and a sparsely populated area. However, this places the area where Golden Dawn Entertainment Group has focused its operations in the past 2 years. Walled Pictures, Waterworld Animation, SpongeBob SquarePants House, WB Television Network, Upton Television Network and many other subsidiaries have established branches in Oklahoma. There are nearly 2,000 people in the state who work for Golden Dawn Entertainment Group. The number of people exposed to radiation is even closer to tens of thousands. Humph, do you think I am willing to invest a lot of money in Oklahoma? A sparsely populated state, there is really no way. States with large populations and prosperous development are all divided by major companies. There is basically no Zucker cake, so I can only take the second place and move to Oklahoma. Because of this, Golden Dawn Entertainment Group has great influence in Oklahoma. As soon as the publicity report of Finding Nemo came out, the response was the strongest, and it was the state of Oklahoma. "Heidi, will you go to the movies tomorrow?" a teenager asked his girlfriend. "Of course," the blonde girl nodded. "My whole family works in Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, and I will work for it in the future. Even if Finding Nemo is really ugly, I will go to the theater to support it." Upon hearing this, the boy immediately retorted, "Heidi, I have seen the promotional video of Finding Nemo. It is not ugly at all, and I even heard that it is very beautiful." "You idiot." The girl Heidi rolled her eyes and said, "I just said it casually, and didn't say that it must be unsightly. What are you excited about?" "Hey, don't be angry, it's a big deal. I will invite you tomorrow, okay?" Suddenly, the boy smiled. The boy's face was still half gloomy at the moment. The girl Heidi couldn't help but secretly said, "Boys are so coaxing." At the same time, there are quite a few people in Oklahoma who are similar to this pair of teenagers. They plan to buy tickets tomorrow to watch the animated film Finding Nemo. New York State, 7 o'clock in the evening. Eminem, the lead male singer under Dawn Music, is currently holding a personal small concert in a local concert hall in New York. Well, to be precise, it is the fan club. There are 300 seats in the audience and there are no empty seats. At the same time, there are as many as hundreds of fans outside the concert hall, because they did not get the tickets, and regretted that they could only stay outside. "Eminem, I love you. Come on, you are the best. You are the best rapper." It has not been long since Eminem debuted, but thanks to the strong promotion of Dawn Music and his own efforts, He has become a popular first-line singer in the American entertainment circle and has an extraordinary influence. Several consecutive songs have been sung. The atmosphere is very strong. Everyone, the next song I want to sing is from a song in my new album, which is also the theme song of the movie Finding Nemo. I hope you will like it. Amron said, "We definitely like it." Fans on the scene, where's half reserved? Eminem said again, an advertisement will be inserted. Tomorrow, Finding Nemo will be released in the United States. Friends who are interested can come to the theater to support it, promote Finding Nemo. That's right, Eminem will assist Finding Nemo in the 10 meetings of singers held in the East and West of the United States in just over 20 days. Eminem alone's assists contributed to the box office pre-sale of the Finding Nemo movie. Use all available power. This is a consistent publicity plan. Of course, this must be paid, even if Eminem is a contracted singer of Jinjuguang music, somewhere in Los Angeles in a bookstore. When a 16-year-old boy enthusiastically bought a book of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the second part of Harry Potter, he opened the package and found an advertisement single. I go, "This is too shameless. I bought a book, and there was a leaflet for Finding Nemo." Young Baron held his forehead, suddenly a little speechless. He couldn't help but think of his experience in recent days. Watch the Jailbreak TV series www.wuxiaspit.com. There is an advertisement of Finding Nemo when you go out to buy burgers and cola. As soon as you enter the store, you can find a big poster of Finding Nemo in the lobby. Even if you browse the web on the internet, the pop-up advertisements will pop up. The cute clownfish Nemo, subway stations, LED displays in the city center, community billboards, publicity boards in schools. He can see Nemo the clownfish now. Even buying the book Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is a familiar taste. Finding Nemo. Really everywhere. The corner of the young Baron's mouth twitched. San Francisco, Salt Lake City, Chicago, Seattle, Boston, Pittsburgh. The major cities in the United States are all covered with Finding Nemo advertisements. Even in Canada and Mexico, many people have heard of Finding Nemo. The first update is sent. Chapter 302, the animation is released. The company is ready to go public. August 6, Finding Nemo was released in 2,960 theaters across the United States thanks to the recent money-spending publicity and the Power's good premiere reputation. The number of cinemas on the Power's premiere day is more than 300 higher than the 2,600 theaters predicted when the contract was signed. The situation is good, unlike the death schedule in July, when countless blockbusters and strong movies gathered. The schedule in early August is definitely a rare and good schedule. It can be the opponent of World War I. There are only 2 movies. They are, the movie Skynet, also known as Stealing the Sky, is played by newly recruited 007 Pierce Brosnan, produced by MGM Pictures, and will be released on August 6. The movie The Big Swindler, with a famous black comedy star Eddie Murphy as the protagonist, produced by Universal Pictures, will be released on August 13. As for the other movies released in August, Finding Nemo has no trace of fear. Of course, even with the addition of the 2 films Stealing the Sky and The Big System Liar, Zhu Ke and Waterworld Animation are confident and beat them head-on. It's so stiff. Sure enough, judging from the box office data reported back at noon, Waterworld Animation won in just a few hours. The box office and attendance of Finding Nemo are higher than those of Stealing the Sky released in the same period. New 007, he really can't beat Nemo the Clownfish. Many movie audiences sighed sincerely. Of course, a head of a box office investigation agency faced reporters and said, "No child will reject Finding Nemo. How can Pierce Brosnan Stealing the Sky win?" Reporters from the WB television network, as well as from dozens of media and newspapers across the United States, interviewed many fans and audiences as soon as the film was released. The answers come are all odd and strange. George, oh, you asked me which movie I chose. Wouldn't it be necessary to say more? Of course, Finding Nemo is my first choice. Mlito, it must be Finding Nemo. As for Stealing the Sky, I'll talk about it at that time. Connery, just for the magnificent picture, it's worth a movie ticket. Sean Veal, I am a big fan of SpongeBob SquarePants. Which movie do you think I would choose to watch? Ace, a rare holiday, of course, is to take my beloved babies to a picnic in the forest park. Of course, my babies also love watching movies very much. Finding Nemo is the best choice. Jonah, Finding Nemo. It must be it. Since Wednesday, my 2 children have been clamoring to watch it. As a mother, of course I will not refuse the reasonable requests of my children. Dozens of media reporters interviewed nearly 1,000 movie viewers. The number of times Finding Nemo is mentioned is as high as 83%. and the score is even A+. Only 9% of the times mentions stealing the sky, the score is only B. As for other movies released in the same period, you can use 4 words to describe it, not to mention it. If there is no accident, Finding Nemo will be swept on the day of its premiere. All competitors will be vulnerable in front of it, a media reporter said or a photographer around him nodded in agreement. Unless Pierce Brosnan turns into 007 Bond, it is definitely not an opponent of Finding Nemo. MGM Pictures, the production team of the film Stealing the Sky, a group of MGM executives gathered here, and the atmosphere of the entire conference room was slightly heavy. How to do? The leader of the project team, Denon Eric, who is also the vice president of MGM Pictures, questioned, "Why are you all dumb now when you claim to be Hollywood elites and senior workers? World Animation Company, will you blow you down? Trash, a bunch of trash." Everyone bowed their heads, their faces embarrassed and shameful. They don't want to either, but I really can't do it. Everyone was dumb. It's not that they can't think of a way. Generally speaking, for the box office, they don't mind using abnormal means to beat their opponents. But behind Waterworld Animation is the increasingly powerful Golden Dawn Entertainment Group and the American super-rich Zhu Ke Wald. Unconventional means, would you use one to try? Hey Vice President Denon Eric, after barking incompetently, also sighed on the spot, follow your fate. Even if you lose, we have to make sure that Stealing the Sky will not lose money. The next day, 9 o'clock in the morning, yesterday's box office results came out. Finding Nemo undisputedly won the box office championship in North America on August 6 with a score of $27 million. Can Waterworld Animation produce high-quality, high-grossing cinema animation movies? At the moment when the box office results were announced, no one objected anymore. In other words, after Disney Animation, Pixar Animation, and DreamWorks Animation, Waterworld Animation Company has risen strongly, occupying an important place in the world of animation, the 4th largest animation company in the United States. Waterworld Animation. This is the front page headline of articles written by many American media early this morning. This title really hurts some people's eyeballs. Pixar's boss, Jobs, Zhu Ke Wald, this guy, really made him do it. I have to say that Mr. Jobs was slightly unhappy. Of course, he will not be afraid. He is a very proud person. He is not afraid of any opponents, Disney chairman Michael Eisner said. Behind the Waterworld Animation Company, there is the existence of Wald Pictures, which can distribute films globally. Otherwise, we Disney said that we would not be able to fight for 1 or 2 of the profits in the overseas market. Now, no chance. Jeffrey Katzenberg, the head of DreamWorks Animation, you have to work harder, otherwise we will be surpassed by Waterworld Animation. I will never let it become a reality. The most delicious person is also Rupert Murdoch, the boss of News Corporation and Fox Pictures. Damn, Waterworld Animation Company, why is it not under my banner? Undoubtedly, at this moment, Murdoch remembered his own animation studio, the Frozen Planet animation film produced not long ago, which placed his high hopes, costing nearly $100 million just to create a Pixar-like animation film. The existence of animation, however, the movie box office was a fiasco. In addition, the follow-up profit, peripheral profit, box office share www.wooksiaspit.com, the total amount is even less than 1/3 of the production cost. Blood loss. Can a tycoon like Murdoch have no grievances? At the same time, Waterworld Animation Company's Hugh faced a group of Waterworld Animation executives such as Steven Solenberg and David Messer, and made an important decision to them: give you options, give you allotments. Waterworld Animation will be listed on the U.S. stock market soon. The second update is sent. Thank you Han Wang ZJIU for giving 500 rewards. And thank you Bayan for your rewards. Chapter 303, Allotment of Shares to Executives. What? Steven Solenberg's eyes widened. Boss, you just said that you will allocate shares to us and plan to list Waterworld Animation. Is this true? At this moment, whether it is Steven Solenberg or David Messer and other Waterworld Animation executives, they feel breathing heavier and adrenal hormones increase. Allotment listed. This is a matter of self-interest, and no one can remain calm, Zhu Ke said with a smile. A year ago, I made a promise that as long as the benefits of Waterworld Animation are good, I can allocate shares to you, or even give you a portion of the shares for free. It is not impossible. Hearing that, everyone nodded heavily. Also, when Waterworld Animation was founded, I warned you that our goal is Pixar Animation, and the listing is just a small step for now. Zhu Ke bewitched. Everyone present did not speak, but from their clenched fists, It was enough to see their excitement at the moment. Check it out, man. In 1995, when Pixar Animation went public, it not only brought jobs, who had fallen to the bottom, back to the top, it also created 6 multimillionaires, 13 millionaires, and hundreds of ordinary Pixar Animation workers, all with dozens of value. $10,000 in shares as a worker in the animation field. Pixar's impressive record and wealth myth are the common pursuit of people in this industry. Can our company go public? Will I become a shareholder of Waterworld Animation? Am I going to make a fortune? Steven Solenberg, David Messer, and others only felt excited, but their heads were still a little dizzy. It was Zhu Ke's words that were so sudden that they caught them off guard. Everyone, not just the Waterworld Animation Company, but other subsidiaries of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, Walt Pictures, SpongeBob SquarePants House, Golden Dawn Music, and Golden Dawn Publishing, in the near future, as long as if you make a contribution. I will never be stingy with option rewards. Remember, this is my promise to you from Zhu Ke Wald. Can dreams be eaten as a meal? Can't. Only with real benefits can talents be retained. If you don't give options, you won't be able to keep the talents at the top. David Messer used to be a member of Pixar Animation. Because of his qualifications, he obtained less than $100,000 worth of shares after Pixar went public. Even if he can develop well at Pixar, he threw an olive branch in Zucker. Later, he was very happy to join. Why? It's all because of profits. Zhu Ke doesn't deny that there are dreams in it, but people have to eat and live after all. But Zhu Ke has always believed in one thing: shares and options are not available to everyone, but as long as you have the ability, I will never be stingy. Of course, Zhu Ke will not give them too many shares this time. 15%. This time, Zhu Ke will take out 15% of the shares of Waterworld Animation Company. Among them, 12% of the shares are used for listing and allotment. Remember, it is allotment. The so-called allotment, it is for them to spend money to buy it. Of course, they will not lose. We can naturally accept this. Steven Solenberg laughed and said, think about Pixar Animation. After their employees spend money on allotment shares, once the company goes public, which one is not earning, the net worth has doubled several times. In 1995, before Pixar Animation went public, the allotment to employees was $7 per share. However, on the first day of Pixar's listing, the Nasdaq closed, and the share price per share soared to $31, which was several times higher. Pixar's John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, etc. Which one is not a profitable one? The other 3% of the 15% shares are not within the scope of the allotment. Zhu Ke will use 3% of the shares to give and reward people who have made outstanding contributions to Waterworld Animation, such as CEO Victor, TV Group's Donna, and other group executives. The next day, when everyone in the Waterworld Animation was still immersed in the carnival of shares and listing, Zhu Ke was also discussing the specific details of allotment with Zhang Wei, Anna, and other assistant teams. Boss, the company is listed on the U.S. stock market. 2 requirements are crucial. First, the company's financial reports over the past 3 years have been profitable, and there are certain requirements for the company's total assets. Of course, this is not a problem at all for our Waterworld Animation. Zhang Wei talked freely. Zhu nodded and smiled. You are right. The profit requirement is never a problem for Waterworld Animation. Sitting on SpongeBob SquarePants and Peppa Pig, 2 major animated series, plus the recent hits in box office sales of Finding Nemo, the 3-year financial report of Waterworld Animation is simply not too beautiful. Secondly, the company must have more than 300 shareholders. Boss, since you have decided to use 12% of the shares for the listing and allotment and 3% of the shares for option rewards to the senior executives of the entire group, the requirement for the number of shareholders of 300 or more is not a problem as long as you plan properly. As for the 12% of the shares used for listing and allotment, the specific price per share and the listing price need to be assessed by a professional organization. I cannot make an estimate, Zhang Wei said solemnly. Anna, the chief consultant of the private financial team, said, professional rating agencies and listing undertaking agencies, I think Citi, Goldman Sachs, Morgan and other investment banks will never refuse your request. Yes, Zhu Ke laughed and said, these people are all dog-nosed. Not long after I let out the wind, I received multiple calls this morning, all wanting to undertake the financing of the listing of our Waterworld Animation. At the same time, when Waterworld Animation is listed, Zhu Ke will also release some shares for market circulation in the following time. Zhu Ke, Zhang Wei, Anna and others had further discussions on issues such as the shares and option awards for allotment. For example, the restricted period of free trading of options, the target of the transaction, the allotment shares granted by the company to employees is not entirely yours after you buy it, and requires a certain working life requirement as soon as you have completed the allotment of shares in the front foot. You sell the shares in the back foot and leave Waterworld Animation. Isn't Zhu Ke losing a lot? Everyone is not a fool and a fool. Therefore, not only Zhu Ke, but every company in the world has imposed many restrictions on the number of years of free trading and the requirements for listing and allotment of shares. You must have the ability to get shares and options, like Zhang Wei, Barrister Zhang. Although he has known Zhu Ke for a long time and has worked for Zhu Ke for many years, his role is not irreplaceable. So it is impossible for him to get options and shares. CEO Victor is different. For many years after he settled, www.wuxiaspot.com was Zhu Ke's #1 general. If he could not get the option award, then no one would dare to beat his chest and say that he was more qualified. Even if I stingy again, I know that talents are going to win over and win over. Zhu Ke was a little bit cautious in his grandeur. The development of the company to a certain extent, granting important employees shares, is the inevitable result of the company's development. Well, stingy people are always stingy. Zhu Ke had been distressed for several days, had a few big meals, and slept with a few pretty girls before he came back. It will take some time for the Waterworld Animation to go public, of course. Zhu Ke is not very anxious. After all, the situation of Waterworld Animation is completely different from the predicament of Pixar before its launch. Waterworld Animation is not short of money. The first update is sent. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304, Because of the Shares, Some People Are Happy and Some Are Worried. August 15th, the animated film Finding Nemo has been released in North America for 10 days as of yesterday. The film has achieved a box office of $128 million in North America, and the daily box office is still very impressive, winning 10 consecutive day box office championships. Properly popular videos. It puts all the movies released in the same period under pressure in the film market of overseas countries. Finding Nemo will soon land in Mexico, Chile, Brazil and other Central and South American countries. The film markets in Europe, Asia, Australia and other countries and regions are also intensively negotiating with Wald Pictures as the distributor, and it is expected that too much time will not be wasted. After all, Finding Nemo is too hot. Many local box office data analysis companies in the United States have made a series of analysis and reports on the final box office of Finding Nemo. $300 million, only the box office in North America. The final box office of Finding Nemo will definitely not be less than $300 million. This is a professional evaluation made by many analysis companies based on market supply and demand, film reputation and other aspects. A well-known Hollywood film analyst Carve on the new issue of Hollywood Weekly, he said, Finding Nemo is an extremely rare boutique movie among the animated films, and it will surely win a North American box office of more than $300 million. In 1999, the North American annual box office rankings, it must be in the top 3. The annual box office must be in the top 3. I have to say that this is a very high praise, but the major Hollywood studios expressed dissatisfaction. Why can the Finding Nemo movie make it into the top 3 box office charts? It's only August, and there are still a few months before the end of the year. Can you be sure who wins and who loses? When we are a film company, doesn't it exist? Furthermore, the 6 major Hollywood companies are not vegetarian. Artisan Entertainment, DreamWorks Pictures, New Line Pictures, Miramax Pictures. The bosses and executives of Hollywood's top second-tier film companies were a bit angry. Envy, unwillingness, resentment and other emotions permeated their hearts. But in an article written by Carve on the Hollywood Weekly, as in the case of Zhu Ke, various film companies have been dumbfounded after the list of movies to be released in the next few months. Dissatisfied, no way Carve is able to make a big name in Hollywood. It is absolutely extraordinary. This year's box office champion is definitely Star Wars, The Threat of Ghosts. Since its release in May, the film has earned $392 million in the box office in North America. Its final point of landing in North America is a steady entry of $400 million. Up to now, The global box office data of the film has it is inevitable that it will exceed $800 million and eventually reach $900 million, with a global box office of $900 million. Who is the rival? In the year without Titanic, Star Wars, The Threat of Ghosts is like a giant Finding Nemo movie, even if it has not yet been released in overseas countries and regions. But according to the popularity of animated films, its overseas box office is predictable and can be expected in an article written by Hollywood Weekly. Cod Howell also pointed out, as for the next few months, Hollywood's major, medium and small film companies will produce almost few movies. It is in line with the existence of Star Wars Prequel 1 and Finding Nemo, Columbia Pictures' Little Squirrel. It's not as good as Finding Nemo, and the North American box office is only $200 million. The Green Mile by Warner Brothers Pictures. No, I don't deny that Tom Hanks, who plays the leading role in the Green Mile movie, is an excellent actor, but the box office has nothing to do with acting. The Green Mile will achieve a good box office result, but in North America, its box office will definitely not exceed $300 million. In the next article, Cod Howell made professional estimates for other Hollywood studios and their upcoming films: American Beauty by DreamWorks Pictures, MGM Pictures 007, Crisis of the Black Sun, Paramount Pictures Double Crisis, Miramax's Genius Ripley, Apocalypse by Universal Pictures, although these films have not yet been released in North America. Many people are convinced by the considerations made by Cod Howell based on factors such as production costs, market analysis, supply and demand, film types, and film ratings. Miramax Pictures, unbelievable. President Harvey Weinstein put down the newspaper in his hand and sighed. First it was My Great Greek Wedding, then Spartan 300 Warriors, and now it is Finding Nemo again. Tusk. This year's Wald Pictures is so strong. Paramount Pictures, promise him, agree to their participation. As the boss, Summer Redstone stared at Shirley Lansing and Jordan in front of him, and said in a deep voice, Zhu Ke Wald doesn't want to develop Tomb Raider with us. A series of movies? I can nod and agree, but Jordan, you tell Zhu that he must personally be the producer of Tomb Raider. Yes, boss, Jordan replied. Boss, this, President Shirley Lansing wanted to refute, but was interrupted by Redstone. Shirley, I know what you want to say, but we at Paramount shouldn't be silent again. We and Zhu are working together again, and we are the most profitable, Redstone said loudly. Yes, boss. Shirley Lansing was a little unwilling inviting Zhu over to be the first producer of Tomb Raider, so where does Shirley Lansing put her face as the president of Paramount Pictures? However, the situation is better than people. In recent years, all the films for which Zhu Ke served as the producer have achieved very significant box office. At the same time, based on the news of Waterworld Animation's allotment and the upcoming listing, the entire Golden Dawn Group can be said that some people are happy and some are worried. Hundreds of employees of Waterworld Animation, including Steven Solenberg and David Messer, will share 12% of the rights issue. The other 3% of the shares will be used as an option reward to the executives of the Golden Shogun Group outside of Waterworld Animation. So who can share it? Group CEO Victor, Ms. Tang Na, Senior Vice President of the group, Ms. Martha, Chief Financial Officer of the group, and several other executives. Yes, there are only a few people who can share the 3% option reward. Old Bill, President of Wald Pictures, I don't care. If I work for another 1 or 2 years, I will retire. It is useless to ask for options. Kevin Fitch, Vice President of Wald Pictures, Waterworld Animation is from Wald Pictures. Yes, but it is now an independent subsidiary. I want option rewards. And I only want Wald films. Professional, let alone I'm still young now, I'm not in a hurry. Domino from Golden Dawn Records, www.wuxiaspit.com. I'm not in a hurry. I have singers such as Eminem, Beyoncé, Britney Spears, and Linkin Park under my umbrella. Are you afraid that there will be no option rewards in the future? People in charge of the WOMs such as Jin Shuguang Publishing, Manchester City Club, Under Armour Sports Goods Company, etc., are naturally envious. However, the listing of Waterworld Animation has little to do with them, and options naturally do not have their share. But there is one person, he has a taste. It can even be said that there are some complaints against Zhu Ke, president of SpongeBob House, Taro Hashimoto. There is no option for me this time. Unwilling, he was a little bit unbalanced in his heart. He believes that just discovering the Bias doll by himself and contributing to the company is enough to get the option reward of Waterworld Animation, but not The second update is sent. Please support. Chapter 305, Zhu Ke visited overseas to promote the film. In late August, Zhu Ke took a group of people and took the flight to overseas. The purpose, of course, is to better publicize the animated film Finding Nemo. List of persons accompanying follows: former Fox CEO and current president of Wald Pictures, Bill Mitnick, vice president of Water World Animation and one of the directors of Finding Nemo, David Messer, SpongeBob House chain surrounding president, The Dawn of Home Entertainment director, Taro Hashimoto, and so on. A total of 17 people, of course. If coupled with Zucker's security team, the number is bound to need more than 10 people at the same time. Alexander, director of the President's Office and chief assistant to the chairman of the Jinshiguan Group, arrived in London, England 2 days in advance to act as a pawn. This time everyone will be wronged. After a few months, everyone will go to Europe to promote the film. You can take our company's own plane. In the first-class cabin of the flight, Zhu Ke said, "Own plane, boss. You mean the ultra-medium business jet you ordered with Gulfstream in June 1998, the Gulfstream G200, which is currently one of the most luxurious business jets in the world." David Messelton, the eyes lit up. "Yes, that's it. It will be delivered at the end of October this year." Zhu Ke laughed when the voice fell. Everyone present was very happy who is waiting to see the public flight if he has his own company's plane. What's more, that is the Gulfstream G200. The price alone is as high as $25 million. If you add luxury interiors, it will inevitably add several million US comfort level public flight of the aircraft. Then what means? Bill McNichol suddenly said, "The company exclusive aircraft? I have not been in a few times. You come here less, old man." Zhu Ke immediately laughed and scolded. "When you were the CEO of Fox Pictures, you used to fly on the exclusive plane of Fox Pictures. Don't mention it, don't mention it." Old Bill waved his hand quickly. "This is the old Bill with you pretending force for a while." Everyone in the cabin laughed. The go overseas to promote Finding Nemo movie. Zucker is a must-go. Up to now, although Wald Pictures has built an overseas distribution network, it has only completed the initial construction. The foundation is too poor and the shelf is very fragile. Once someone who has the intention to target it, it will inevitably cause huge lethality. Have to pay attention. I have to go in person. Hold those greedy guys. Zucker thought a few months ago, My Grand Greek Wedding, 300 Spartan Warriors, and Blair the Witch were released overseas. The local snakes from overseas countries and regions bullied Wald Pictures. Young, make small moves in it. As far as Zhu Ke knows, the box office share they withheld, which should have belonged to Wald Pictures, amounted to more than $13 million. How greedy is this? This group of people's shameless greedy behavior is almost blatant. They forced Zhu to come in person. They are extremely arrogant. Annoyed Zhu Ke, Old Bill, Taro Hashimoto, David Messer and others accompanied him, and each had its own role. Bill Mitnick is the president of Wald Pictures, and he was also the CEO of 20th Century Fox Pictures. He has been in Hollywood for decades and has experienced countless ups and downs. He has gained a certain reputation worldwide. The network is extremely wide. His participation can ensure that Finding Nemo is better publicized in overseas countries and regions. The role of David Messer, also very great. He is one of the directors of Finding Nemo and his position in Water World Animation is second only to CEO Steven Solenberg. Every business needs a facade, especially for entertainment companies. There is no doubt that he, David Messer, is a face and card figure launched by Zucker. Someone might say, aren't you worried that he will switch to another company after he's on fire? Haha. Students, Zhu Ke's very relieved. Option awards and the company's listing of allotment shares are all Zuck's methods of using David Messer job hopping. Are you willing to get these hard earned things? SpongeBob House chain surrounding president, The Dawn of Home Entertainment director, Hashimoto. During the IPO process of Water World Animation, I know that you little devil has ideas and is unwilling, but what can you do? Zhu Ke turned aside Taro Hashimoto, who was sitting tightly not far away, and squinted his eyes. Taro Hashimoto, he is a very combative person. He can be called the most aggressive person in the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group. At the same time, it is a very ambitious man. Ms. Donna from the TV group, Old Bill from Wald Pictures, and even Group CEO Victor, Taro Hashimoto is quite disdainful. All I want is your offensive, little devil. You honestly become a knife in my hand, and constantly clamp down and warn those executives. Zucker knows Taro Hashimoto, man, he is a vicious dog Zhu put in the flock to balance the whole group. Taro Hashimoto himself does not know it. Of course he knows. He is an extremely smart guy. He voluntarily enters the urn, willing to be a lackey. In his words, as long as the goal can be achieved, all means are necessary for the road to success. After a few hours, the flight arrived in London. Boss, it's 6 p.m. local time in London. I have prepared the hotel for everyone. Everything can start tomorrow. As soon as he arrived at the London airport, Alexander took several people from the 2 London branches to pick up the plane. Okay. You do things, I can rest assured. Zhu Ke smiled. More than 2 hours later, David Messer suddenly came to Zucker's hotel suite and said, "Boss, I'm afraid I won't sleep peacefully tonight. I just received a call from Mr. Lyman's assistant, Lyman." Zhu moved his expression and asked, "The Lyman Schweitzer is one of Europe's largest distributors of movie peripheral products and has a net worth of tens of billions of dollars." "Yes, it is." David Messer shrugged and smiled. Mr. Lyman not only invited me, but also Taro Hashimoto. Of course, the two of us are just pawns, and the person he really wants to meet is actually you, the boss." Zhu Ke pondered for more than 10 seconds, and said, "I have long wanted to meet him. If we can finalize the cooperation agreement with him for peripheral products, although we will give out some of the benefits, it will speed up our layout in Europe, which is feasible." Agreed, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, and Zhu has no reason to disagree. Boom boom boom. At this moment www.wuxiaspit.com Alexander knocked on the door of Zhu's suite. "Boss, this is the specific list of companies that are greedy for ink and withhold our $13 million of funds for no reason." Alexander submitted a document to Zucker. Zhu looked at the list with a sullen expression on his face, lines of numbers that irritate the eyeballs. "It's all his mother's money, too much deception." Zhu Kachong resisted his anger and said, "Alexander, you will ask them to have dinner in London 3 days later. After ITV's TV interview is over, I must deal with them fiercely." I'm really muddled. The first update is sent. The minister did not update yesterday. I drank too much at noon, and I didn't slow down in the evening, and the amount of alcohol was too bad. Make it up today. Chapter 306, Young people have to pay tuition. Somewhere in Birmingham, England, Oldcastle, the family residence of the veteran noble Baron Tobit, the little old man Tobit with the title of Baron. He is a somewhat humpbacked, thin old man. He is a veteran nobleman in the UK. The family industry has a capital of up to £300 million, involving water, film, finance and other related industries. At the same time, Wald Pictures' overseas distribution channels have a number of collaborations with Tobit's little old man in the UK. At this moment, he was sitting in a study room filled with bookshelves, looking at the classic Notre Dame de Paris. "Master, your tea." The well-dressed old housekeeper came here. "Well, let's put it here." Little old man Tobit nodded and continued to read, but he found that the old butler was still stuck here, so he couldn't help asking, "Why, there's something else." "Yes, sir," the old butler respectfully said. "Just now, I received a call from Jinshiguang Entertainment Group. It was a call from the assistant chairman Alexander himself. On behalf of Mr. Wald, he invited you to speak in London in 3 days." Oh, hearing this, the somewhat rickety Baron Tobit couldn't help but straighten up. His turbid eyes flashed with light. "It is said that Zhu Wald is a very shrewd and cunning guy. It seems that he is right." Baron Tobit laughed. The old butler echoed, "There is no good feast, sir." Baron Tobit smiled. "Of course I know. It's called Yixu, but it's actually for us to intercept the box office share of his company's film." "Then sir, are you still going?" the old butler asked. "Go with it." "Why do not you go?" The corner of Baron Tobit's mouth raised slightly, and he said, "Everyone has set up a banquet. If we don't go, wouldn't it be too rude? Besides, what is there to be afraid of? We withhold his $2.3 million share for his benefit. Young people should pay more tuition." Unscrupulous. That's right, for Zhu Ke, a rich man who has risen in a short period of time. In the eyes of the veteran rich, he is always a nouveau riche with poor background and shallow connections. What they have is the means to extract wealth from Zucker. France. Marseille's Regent Sarah Lucia, a middle-aged woman, is currently the head of the Lucia family in France. Her assets involve traditional industries such as wine, food, and medical care. She began to be involved in the film and television entertainment industry a few years ago. His family assets are expensive, as much as $1.5 billion. Oh, on behalf of Zucker, Wald invited me to speak in London. Even if I don't go, what can he do? Sarah Lucia sat on the sofa and looked at the several executives in front of the company. She couldn't help but say, in France, besides cooperating with me, he is also a dwindle in Guillaume Pictures, the former French film giant. How is Gaomeng Pictures different from us? They are much darker than me. At the same time tonight, 12 companies from 9 countries including Britain, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Austria, Germany, etc., all received calls from Alexander. A crowd of people waited, all showing a clear color, and a lot of disdain. The movie is divided into several months of stay. What is this? Don't talk about Wald Pictures. It is the 6 major Hollywood film companies. Their box office share, which one is staying for as long as 6 to 12 months? Since you have chosen the film industry, you have to bear the cost. This feature of long cycle, otherwise switch to career as soon as possible, young people just like impulse. Zhu Ke Wald really thinks we are philanthropists, but we can't? We want to make money. Is it so easy to establish a global distribution channel? My Grand Greek Wedding, 300 Spartan Warriors and Blair the Witch 3 films. According to the contract and deadline, the funds transferred to the Wald Pictures account should be $210 million. But, in fact, the funds currently put into Wald Pictures account are only about $100 million. In other words, there are more than $110 million in funds that they owed for no reason, not to mention there are $13 million in funds, which were intercepted by them for greed and no reason. They are extremely contemptuous of Wald Pictures. As for international lawsuits, they are not worried. After all, they are all old fritters. Shortly after, Williams Wan, a film distributor in Spain, also made a phone call in person to communicate with a British Baron Tobit. Rest assured, no matter what Zhu Ke Wald's methods and determination he has, as long as he wants to build a complete global distribution channel, he will compromise with us, and he must learn to compromise. Williams Yuan's tone was full of disdain for Zhu Ke. You can see it clearly. Baron Tobit also smiled. Of course, Williams Wan took the phone and continued, the 6 major Hollywood companies, for the sake of global distribution channels, which one was not built in as long as 10 or 20 years, should use Zhu Ke Wald? I really think I can accomplish this great cause in just a few years, right? Young people are lack of social beatings. As the elders, we should teach them well. Okay, Baron Tobit nodded and said, this time it's a lesson for him. But Wan, remember, we can't be too eager. If the table is overturned, then no one has to eat. Who is this? Things you don't want to see. Call ended. The purpose is very simple, that is, to intimidate Zhu Ke by intercepting funds and defaulting on funds. As long as Zhu Ke compromises, then they will be able to grab more benefits in future film releases. Capital. Never pay attention to friendship. At mid-morning the next day, Zhu Ke led the team to the ITV television broadcasting building. Hey, Zhu Ke, congratulations, Finding Nemo is selling again in North America. The person in charge of receiving Zhu Ke and his party on the ITV side is still Zhu Ke's old friend Cindy. Zhu Ke shook hands with him and smiled. Cindy, I haven't congratulated you yet. But I just heard that you have been promoted to the position of Vice President of ITV Broadcasting Company. Hey, don't talk nonsense about you reading www.uucan'tchoo.com. The board of directors has not issued a notice yet. You said it was early. Cindy waved his hand quickly. Zhu Ke smiled and scolded. Since there is no official notification, this is also a certainty. You should not pretend to me. Cindy laughed. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's go in and talk again. Zhu Ke and Cindy have a good relationship. The two have known each other since the copyright of the talent show in 1996, and now more than 3 years have passed, and the subsequent 2 have also cooperated on the copyright of Millionaire. In addition, Cindy is also the leader of ITV in many American dramas such as The Walking Dead, Prison Break, Bankrupt Sisters, and The Big Bang Theory. Cindy talked and laughed and took Zhu Ke into the ITV broadcasting building today. Zhu Ke will appear on a variety show on ITV TV to promote the Finding Nemo movie. The second update of was sent, and the minister continued to open the third update. Chapter 307, Zhu Ke on British variety show. Zhu Ke, the show you are participating in this time is called Original Chef. As the name suggests, it is not a talk show, but a gourmet show. Cindy introduced in the conference room. What? Gourmet show? Men, what are you kidding? Zhu Ke blurted out. How did the talk show change? Cindy convicted. Zhu Ke, it's my fault. But think about it, how many audiences does a regular TV talk show have? And, how many people watching this kind of talk show are from the Finding Nemo animation of potential ticket buyers? You are right. Zhu Ke couldn't refute it. Cindy continued, we are old friends, and I will never cheat you. The Original Chef show, it is different. To put it bluntly, Ollie, who is known as the UK's first chef, Original Chef hosted by Buddha, It is a very popular program at this stage, suitable for all ages, and the number of people in the right age group is far beyond your imagination. Do you think it has great benefits for the promotion of Finding Nemo? Furthermore, there are talk shows. In a few days, I can arrange the crew of Finding Nemo and board the show, and the effect will be just as good. When the words fell, Zhu Ke gave Cindy a bad look. What can I do now? It's all dead by you. Although Zhu Ke was a little unhappy, he also understood that Cindy was right. The more popular the program, the wider the audience, and the better the publicity of the film. It is not a bit better than a simple talk show. The promotion effect of variety shows is pretty good. For example, in order to promote a movie, the directors and actors of the Great Heaven Dynasty have also participated in variety shows such as A Longing for Life and Ace vs. Ace. Many times, the variety show Original Chef is indeed extremely popular in the UK. It is called one of the top 10 variety shows in the UK. Basically, there are not many people who live in the UK. Not sure about the show? What? Suddenly, a trace of doubt flashed in Zhu Ke's mind. Isn't Original Chef a British BBC TV program? How did it become an ITV program? For a while, Zhu Ke couldn't help being very curious. Zhu Ke chatted with Cindy immediately before he knew the reason. The route is Cindy's side. The program planning of Original Chef was originally planned by BBC TV, but Cindy came from the BBC company and worked for it for several years. When he heard about the program planning, he did not hesitate to dig into the corner. Host Oliver, is he excellent? Well, dig it over. The program group planning of Original Chef is also very good. Well, one pot, tisk tut. Zhu couldn't help but blinked. Cindy, you are shameless enough. Cindy smiled slyly. Let's each other. Zhu Ke immediately laughed and scolded. I can already think of your old bosses of the BBC company, their expressions of surprise and anger when they learned that they were taken away by a pot. But I am also very happy. Cindy nodded in agreement. Zhu Ke and the BBC company had an intersection before. The famous Teletubbies copyright was authorized by Zhu Ke to the BBC company. For this reason, Zhu Ke can get a lot of peripheral profits every year, but the copyright sale of the Got Talent caused Zhu Ke and the BBC to part ways. Although the two are not enemies, they are definitely no longer friends. You are revenge for me, Zucker said. Last time I wanted to buy Manchester United, the BBC broadcasting company didn't discredit me less. Tusk. This time they are unlucky, too. 2:00 in the afternoon. Under the guidance of the staff, Zhu Ke appeared on the recording side of ITV's Original Chef program, Mr. Wald. This is Jamie Trevor Oliver, known as Thebriden's first chef, and the only host of our show. Jamie, you are a chef, but you must have heard of the famous Wald Pictures. Yes, this young gentleman is Mr. Zhu Ke Wald, the owner of Wald Pictures, the youngest billionaire in America. The live director of the show introduced Zhu Ke, and Oliver smiled at each other and shook hands in greeting. Hello, Mr. Oliver. When I was in Los Angeles, I heard Brad Pitt mentioned you and said you were one of his best friends. Zhu Ke laughed. Oliver humbly said, where, compared to Mr. Wald's achievements, I haven't done enough. Well, you call me Jamie. Whatever you call me, Jamie. That couldn't be better. Zhu Ke also laughed. For Oliver, this person, Zhu Ke, can be considered to have some understanding. Jamie Trevor Oliver, from a small village in the United Kingdom, has had difficulties since he was a child, and his course in school was not very smooth, and he could not graduate smoothly in the end. He entered Westminster Abbey School of Food and Drink at the age of 16, and has since embarked on the path of a chef. Up to now, he is only 25 years old and is already a famous local chef in the UK. He has been invited to cook for the British royal family several times. In June 2003, he was announced to be awarded the Order of the British Empire on the list of honours issued on the birthday of the Queen of England. In July 2009, he served as the honorary chairman of the European Chinese Restaurant Association. Jamie Trevor Oliver may not be the best chef in Europe, nor the most famous chef, but he has made a huge and indelible contribution to the promotion of food in various countries and regions in Europe. Jean-Claude Juncker, Presidency of the European Commission from 2014 to 2019. Mr. Wald, let me ask you an extra question. Do you know how to cook? Oliver asked suddenly. Can you cook? Hearing this, Zhu Ke immediately proudly said, I came from a poor family. Of course I can cook. Even Chinese food, Mexican food, I can also some. That's good. Oliver's eyes lit up. Zhu suddenly had a bad feeling, and immediately said, Hey Jamie, I will have a little for. Don't make it difficult for me later. Ha. Mr. Wald, I can't help you later, Oliver said slyly. Damn it, if you do something. Zhu was speechless. Soon, The audience was in place. The new episode of Original Chef has officially started recording. Hello everyone, I am your old friend Oliver. Today I will also bring you a dish. However, today is different. The program team arranged for me an assistant. Oliver said assistant. Suddenly, the hundreds of viewers at the recording site of www.uxiaspit.com could not help but reveal their doubts. Is it possible that this is a famous 3-star chef? A young audience guessed. Maybe it's a movie star. A woman laughed. Oliver said, first of all, he is from the United States, and he is a famous person. At the same time, he is also the owner of Wald Pictures, the owner of the Manchester City Club, and the well-known super rich in the United States with a net worth of 10 billion Mr. Zhu Ke Wald. Now let us welcome him with the warmest applause. Amid a round of applause, Zhu Ke appeared on the stage. Hey, are you making a mistake? It's really him, a teenager exclaimed. I know him. And I have watched many movies written by him, such as Lola Run, Fatal Turn, Sixth Sense of Supernatural and so on. The third update is sent. Chapter 308, What to Say. Welcome to Mr. Zhu Ke Wald debut. Oliver said the applause was naturally very warm among the more than 200 viewers at the recording site. Many of them knew Zhu Ke's name. After all, the 300 Spartan Warriors movie, which got a high-grossing box office in the world, achieved an outstanding box office result of $45 million in the UK a few months ago. But behind the scenes is after all behind the scenes. There are many people who know Zhu Ke, but more people don't know Zhu Ke. For example, you will know that the highest peak in the world is Mount Everest, but you might not know the second peak. You will have heard that the world's richest man is Bill Gates, but ask you who are among the top 10 wealthy people in the world. There are definitely countless people who are trapped. You will know that Marvel's Avengers 4 swept the world and won countless dollars, but if you ask who is the director? Who is the producer? You ask, how many people know about it? Men in Black, Frozen, Zoo City, Joker 2019, Pirates of the Caribbean, Fast and Furious. So many Hollywood movies are known all over the world, but how many people know the director, producer, screenwriter, and production company behind the scenes? Therefore, even if Zhu Ke often becomes a news hotspot and headline figure, he is limited to the United States, and it is not very easy to do it overseas. You don't know Zhu Ke Wald? That's not surprising, a young guy at the recording site said to his bewildered girlfriend. Zhu Ke Wald is a well-known Hollywood producer and has participated in the production of many popular movies, but he is not in front of the stage after all. Actor, it's normal for you to not understand. Then how did you know? The girlfriend asked in astonishment. Haha. The young man immediately smiled and said, don't forget, I am a fan of Manchester City Club. Well, my whole family are fans of Manchester City. Zhu Ke Wald is the current owner of Manchester City Club. Can you say I don't know him? No wonder the girlfriend suddenly realized. The young man said again, I suddenly remembered Teletubbies. The girlfriend frowned and said, what are you talking about? My sister likes to watch Teletubbies, but I don't like it. Hey, the young man said triumphantly, you might not know that, as the most popular national drama Teletubbies, the original copyright belongs to him. Zhu Ke Wald. Really? Suddenly, the girl was surprised. In the entire recording site, not only the couple were discussing Zhu Ke, but in fact, many people were vying to communicate at this moment. Hollywood newcomers, well-known screenwriters, producers and directors, one of the founders of instant messaging software ICQ, the owner of the Manchester City Club, behind the scenes of the Harry Potter series of books, shareholders of many well-known internet companies such as Amazon, Apple, and Yahoo, new American media tycoon. Super rich with a net worth of tens of billions of dollars, the identities were revealed one by one, the incidents were stripped away, and Zhu Ke's miraculous rise, and his net worth of tens of billions, made the British, who have always had a great pursuit of wealth, stunned. There is such a powerful person in the world, a middle-aged lawyer exclaimed. Original Chef program, continue to record Mr. Wald. I am very glad that you are a guest on our show. I believe this will be a wonderful experience. Oliver, wearing an apron, let out a hearty laugh. Definitely. Zhu Ke was not shocked when facing the camera. Oliver nodded, facing the camera and the audience, and said, the dish we are going to make today is a classic British dish, and it is also a home-cooked dish that everyone knows about. It is Yorkshire pudding. Yorkshire pudding. Zhu Ke was immediately happy. It's the mudslide called the pudding world. The taste is not sweet and the shape is not exquisite, but it is the traditional British meal of Yorkshire pudding. As soon as the voice fell, many people laughed at the scene. Your summary is really in place. Oliver smiled bitterly. In the normal concept, puddings are small and exquisite, with a fragrant and sweet taste, and a delicate and smooth taste. They exist as a beautiful dessert such as custard pudding, coconut pudding, mango pudding. Each one is exciting, but Yorkshire pudding, its name is pudding, but it is a mudslide in the pudding world because of its wild appearance. It belongs to completely uncontrolled savage growth, and the taste has no sweet smell. The taste has nothing to do with tenderness. More importantly, its best match is basically a barbecue that is basically out of the category of desserts. That's right, it's barbecue. Mr. Wald, it seems that you really know a lot about English cuisine. Oliver laughed. It's okay. Zhu Ke smiled and said, I heard from others that the characteristic of British cuisine is simplicity. The ingredients are simple and the cooking methods are simple. British cuisine can be described as dark cuisine in the world. Even the local people in Britain hardly recognize the so-called British cuisine, and many outsiders sneer at it. There are only two ways to make it: roast it in the oven, or cook it in a pot. Do not put any condiments when cooking, and add some salt, pepper, mustard, spicy soy sauce, etc. according to personal preference when eating. Well, even the state banquet of the Queen of England is the same. Many leaders from various countries and regions in the world who participated in the British state banquet have complained about the unpalatable British food. Oliver spread his hands and smiled. It seems that we are not the only ones who complain about British food, but even Mr. Wald, who lives in the United States, knows its notoriety. We are also desperate. Zhu Ke smiled. Many people present also laughed. Many locals in the United Kingdom complain that British food is unpalatable, which is short for parents. But Yorkshire pudding, which is known as the pudding mudslide, is not beautiful, but its taste is quite good. Cooking begins. Oliver made and introduced, and Zhu Ke laid hands on it. Of course, Oliver will not forget that Zhu Ke came to the original chef program to promote Finding Nemo. Therefore, in the recording session, the number of times Finding Nemo is mentioned is not rare. It took nearly 3 years, invested nearly $60 million, more than 420 people participated, and the current box office is as high as $140 million. These data are all known from Zhu Ke's mouth. Wow, it seems that Finding Nemo is indeed a favorite animated movie by many people, Oliver exclaimed pretendingly. Of course, Zhu Ke said, since the film was released in North America, except for the high box office, only the surrounding markets in the United States have sold dolls, clothing, keyrings, books, bags, etc. in these 10 days, as much as hundreds of millions of dollars. So much, at this moment, Oliver, who is mentally prepared, was also shocked. As a host, he is half of the entertainment industry. He naturally knows that the sales of peripheral products have sold more than 100 million in a short period of time. What a terrible number. However, many live audiences did not quite understand. Zhu Ke immediately introduced, does everyone know Teletubbies? National drama. Of course everyone knows that. Many people nod to it. Teletubbies since its release in 1996. www.wooksyaspit.com. Its first annual sales of peripheral products was $190 million, and our Finding Nemo movie was created in just a dozen days. The market is already close to it. And, I can boldly say that by the end of this year, the sales of Finding Nemo peripheral products will exceed $2 billion in one fell swoop, even $3 billion, $4 billion, $5 billion. One stone stirred up 1,000 waves. Without comparison, there is no harm. At this moment, everyone who didn't know the power of Finding Nemo before, now their eyes widened. Everyone was stunned. In fact, Zhu Ke somewhat disparaged Teletubbies. The reason why the sales of Teletubbies peripheral products were not high in the first year is that it was only sold in the UK in the first year and did not enter other countries and regions. But how, anyway? The audience at the scene, they don't know, so, isn't it what Zhu Ke said? Chapter 309, Meet a group of greedy vampires. 2 days later, London, in a hotel suite, boss, the director of the original chef program group, just called and told us that the program you are participating in will be broadcast on ITV Variety Channel 1 at 8 p.m. next Wednesday. Alexander respectfully said, is it next Wednesday? Our movie Finding Nemo will be released in the UK next Friday. Well, it's just in time. Zhu Ke thought for a moment. Why are you on variety shows? Isn't it just to promote a movie? Otherwise Zhu Ke is dignified tens of billions of wealthy men. Why bother to go personally? Just like Belle's survival in the wild in many episodes of the program, why so many stars and politicians appear on the scene? Is it not for publicity? Those vampires, how many people are attending tonight's banquet? Zhu Ke asked. Alexander knew it, and said immediately, judging from the feedback received so far, 13 people will be attending tonight's banquet, haha. Zhu Ke couldn't help but sneered. These guys are really deceiving me young. 27 invitations were sent, but only 13 people attended. Tisk tusk, don't say making our money, staying in our box office, don't say, greedy, we deserve it. Regardless of interest, now I don't even have the chance to eat, Alexander echoed. Capital is extremely greedy, withholding and arrears in the box office share of $110 million, embezzlement of funds up to $13 million. All the overseas distributors that cooperated with Wald Pictures were completely unscrupulously lying on Zhuke's body and sucking blood. How can Zhuke bear it? Furthermore, Zhu Ke has compromised twice and lowered the share ratio twice in a row. The percentage of overseas box office share dropped from 33% to 31%. Subsequently, it dropped to 30%. Regardless of the two operations, it only reduces the share by 3%, but according to the many movies released by Wald Pictures, the total box office is more than $1 billion. A 3% reduction in revenue is equivalent to a profit of $30 million for Wald Pictures. This compromise price is really big. Furthermore, Wald Pictures and them have also made a lot of profit in peripheral product sales and peripheral authorization, and the amount of profit before and after is not less than $20 million. I made a profit of $50 million back and forth, but their greed is completely bottomless. One can be two, no more. Alexander, believe it or not, if we don't be tough this time, they will inevitably threaten us again to make concessions. By then, it won't be $50 million. Zhu Ke held back his anger. Alexander sighed and said, boss, you are right. In fact, not to mention our Wald Pictures, even as strong as the 6 major Hollywood players, there are no fewer than 20 lawsuits against a number of overseas channels each year. In July 1998, Fox Pictures and Paramount Pictures did not sue filmmakers and distributors in Britain, France, and Germany, claiming $130 million from them because of the box office revenue problem of Titanic. Funds, your circle is really messy, Zhu Ke cursed inwardly. It's not uncommon for Hollywood to split the box office into this kind of shit: production company and directors, actors, production companies and distributors, production companies and theaters, the issuer and the local theater chain in the United States, the issuer and the theaters and distributors in overseas countries and regions. The frequency of economic lawsuits is simply endless. 7 o'clock in the evening, Zvili restaurant in London. At this moment, in a small banquet hall capable of accommodating 50 people, there are more than a dozen brightly dressed men or women, old or young, chatting in groups. Mr. 1. Since Madrid, Spain, your business has become more prosperous for a few years. I really envy you, said Demita, a Danish filmmaker. Mr. Demita, you are too modest. As far as I know, the performance of your film industry in Denmark and Norway this year is enough to make many people ashamed. Spanish businessman Williams once smiled. Stand up, haha. A 20-year-old beautiful brown-haired woman from Rome, Italy, came over with a wine glass and smiled. Mr. 1. Mr. Demita, good evenings to both. 1 frowned. This lady, are you? Williams 1, from Spain, did not know this beautiful brown-haired woman, but the Danish businessman Demita knew him. Mr. 1. Let me introduce to you. This beauty is Miss Belika Keksand, the second daughter of Mr. Raymond Keksand, the second largest individual shareholder of Lido Group. Demita said. Lido Group, the full name is Bino, Spring, Lido Group. Hearing this, Williams 1 immediately lit up and said hello quickly. Some people may not know the Lido Group, but when it comes to its brands, it is definitely known to many people. Brands such as Gucci, Balenciaga, Gerard Paraguax, and Puma are sub-brands of the Lido Group. Lido Group was founded in 1963 and changed its name to Kering Group in 2005. It is one of the European luxury goods giants. It is also known as the 4 major European luxury goods giants with Louis Vuitton Group, Hermes Group, and Richemont Group. As of 2020, the 4 luxury goods giants are all large companies with a market value of more than $150 billion. There is no doubt that the 13 people invited to attend today are all large businessmen and entrepreneurs who are either rich or expensive, and none of them have a net worth of less than $100 million. Baron Tobit, old Mr. Tobit, Baron, you are here. At this moment, Baron Tobit, a little old man with a rickety body but with torch-eyed eyes, appeared. Ever since, the eyes of the audience were all focused on him. His wealth may not be the most among the people present, but his personal connections are definitely the strongest among all. Mr. Zhu Ke Wald, are you here? Old Tobit asked Juan, who was next to him, immediately curled his lips and said, "How can I be here now? He is a super rich man with a net worth of tens of billions, so shouldn't he be arrogant? Too disgusting." Danish businessman Demeta helped out. Baron Tobit is here. www.wooksyaspit.com. He's Zhu Ke Wald, as the master, wants all of us to wait for him. He too disrespectful. For a time, many people present showed dissatisfaction. Only Balika Kehind, the second lady of the Kehind family, gave a mysterious smile. "Boss, what they said makes sense." The little secretary beside Balika frowned. "Haha, what do you know?" Balika said lightly. Boom. At this moment, the door of the small banquet hall was pushed open again. "Who is it that I am talking about being pretentious? And who is it that I am not respecting others?" "That's right, our classmate Zhu Ke is here." The second update is sent. Chapter 310, Just Want to Scold You. It must be embarrassing to say bad things about others behind the scenes but be heard by the victim at this moment. The scene in the small banquet hall was full of embarrassment. However, the dozens of people nowadays are not waiting. Well, to be precise, every one of them who can have such a wealth has a thick face. Haha, one chuckled. Mr. Wald, no one said you were pretentious, and no one said you didn't respect others. Danish businessman Demeta agreed. That's right. Well, anyway, we thank Mr. Wald for the dinner invitation tonight. The steps have been given, just waiting for Zhu Ke to take advantage of the situation. Everyone is a person with a face and a face. Generally speaking, the scene is just fine, but Zhu Ke just doesn't want this step. Mr. 1. Do you think I am Zhu Ke Wald as Baron Tobit? When I am not as old as I am and I am not clear, I can hear you really. You said it. Zhu Ke looking at Wan. Damn it. As for, I just hid for a while. Baron Tobit, am I lying down? Zhu Ke said again. Well, and you, Mr. Demeta? You are such a very good fan. Oh? You don't understand what a fan is? Then it's okay. Let me change another word. Dog leg. You does it feel appropriate? Dog legs. Fuck, who are you scolding? Demeta immediately became angry. Mr. Wald, you are so rude. Haha. Zhu Ke sneered. You are really a double-standard dog. You are not rude if you scold me and criticize me behind your back. I have given you face without beating you face to face. Don't know what is wrong, you? Demeta was anxious. Mr. Wald, do you want to extinguish the fire, or talk about what you want to invite us? As for the simple meal, no one believes it. The second young lady of the Kexind family, Balika Kexind, walked slowly and steadily in front of Zhu Ke. Stop the fire. Zhu Ke looked at her condescendingly, and said with disdain, "What do I say? Don't think you are a woman. I won't scold you, you, rude." Balika Kexind's face changed for this guy Balika Kehind. Zhu Ke really looks down on him regardless of how good this woman looks. Her family is also very prominent, but she is a complete slutty guy. She is only in her early 20s, and her private life is simply chaotic. It is said that the number of boyfriends with whom she interacts is enough to be worthy of a platoon. The most important thing is that this woman is obviously a slutty guy, but she often pretends to be holy. Zhu Ke just wanted to vomit. Okay, Zucker. Business matters, Baron Tobit said immediately. Other people around him also gave face and let Zhu Ke fight the fire. The banquet begins. All the people present, except for Wan, Demeta, Balika, and Baron Tobit, were all praising Zhu Ke. Thank you Mr. Wald for leading us all to make a fortune. Yes, thanks to Mr. Wald, every one of us here can make more money than in previous years. Yes, the 3 films My Grand Greek Wedding, 300 Spartan Warriors, and Blair the Witch have really received great popularity in various European countries and regions. This time, the Finding Nemo movie detonated the North American film market. Must be able to sell in large quantities in the European market. Again, thank you Mr. Wald for leading us all to make a fortune. Everyone had a good meal to praise. Zhu Ke squinted his eyes, put down the knife in his hand, and smiled. If this is the case, then why are you greedy for the box office share that Wald Pictures deserves? Greedy box office share. Suddenly, the atmosphere was solemn. Everyone present guessed that there was no good feast, but no one thought that Zhu Ke would be so straightforward. Mr. Wald, you are joking. One of them immediately sloppy Zhu calmly said, joke? I can drive a car, drive a beer, and start a company, but I can't make a joke. Mr. Penladov, you are in the Austrian film market, and the box office of our company is divided into $890,000. You said, are you kidding me? Penladov's face was extremely ugly. Others present also felt ill. Everyone is a person with a face and a face. You are like this. Straightforward. Are you really good, Zook? You have to speak with evidence. Williams Wan frowned. Zhu Ke smiled. You are right, but if I have no evidence, do you think I will say, bang bang bang? Zhu clapped his hands in fear, and the door of the banquet hall was pushed open again. The chief assistant Alexander led 5 men dressed like elites to the stage. Boss, Alexander said respectfully, Mr. Wald. The other 5 people are also very respectful. Read it. Read it aloud to them. Zhu Ke smiled and scanned the audience. Williams Wan, Spain. Since 1999, the box office of My Great Greek Wedding has been divided into $250,000. The box office of 300 Spartan has been divided into $370,000, and the box office of Blair Witch has been divided into $62 million, totaling $1.24 million. The box office share withheld and arrears without reason is as high as $8.53 million. This is about you, Mr. Wan. Zhu Ke looked at him after a few seconds of panic. Wan immediately calmly said, one-sided words are not enough to believe. Oh, is it so? Zhu glanced at Alexander, who immediately understood, took out a stack of documents from the briefcase of the person beside him, and handed them to Williams Wan. Wan's eyes at the moment were extremely cold. 20 seconds later, defamation, it's all fake, eh? Wan is upright and will never be threatened by these false, so-called evidence. Williams Wan smiled in popularity, and his calm look before completely disappeared at this moment. Zhu said, it doesn't matter if you don't admit it. I have entrusted a local lawyer in Spain to submit a lawsuit to the local court in Madrid. See you in the court. Good, very. Then we'll see you in court. After saying this, Williams Wan pushed aside the chair under him, slammed the door angrily and left. At this moment, the atmosphere of the whole scene is dignified, as if water is dripping. Curse, that's nothing more than pediatrics. Zhu is going to tear his face today. After many compromises and profitability, Zhu sacrificed $50 million in exchange for these greedy vampires, who sucked blood again and again, and gained an inch again and again. Patience, whoever can keep holding it will be a bastard. Penladov, Austria, since 1999, has been greedy for ink. Bilika Kahind, since, Alexander said names one by one, making many people look ugly every time several people whose names were recited, all left angrily on the spot, will not leave? Are you waiting to be scolded by someone pointing your nose? Still shameless. Bilika, the second young lady of the Kahind family, gritted her teeth at Zhu when she left. What are you capable of bullying a woman? Woman, Zhu Ke sneered. You are only allowed to be greedy for ink and withhold my property. So I am not allowed to tear off your disguised white lotus? Talk to a woman like you who has no more than 40 men. I feel sick. You? Bilika left angrily. His dignified second lady of the cakes in the family is worth billions, and she is very beautiful. Who would dare to say anything about her in the past? Asshole. Not long. 13 people were invited to the whole scene, and only one person remained, Baron Tobit, young and promising, young and vigorous. But you are not afraid of finding Nemo overseas box office collapse. Are you not afraid that the overseas distribution channel you have worked so hard to build over the past few years will fall apart? Baron Tobit joked. Zhu immediately squinted his eyes again. You old fox, the first update is sent. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311, Finding Nemo is a big hit overseas. Disintegration of overseas channels, what's to be afraid of? Baron Tobit, you underestimate my Zook. Right, yes. Whether you are Baron Tobit, or Wan, Demita, Bilika and others, you have strong capital and extensive connections, and you can be called a local snake in the area. But, you don't. Would you really think that Zhu Ke has no power to refute this? For our overseas distribution channels, I have invested no less than 500 million yuan before and after, so I really think I am playing around. Zhu Ke's words are unmatched. It was Zhu Ke's confidence to spend $500 million and operate for several years. Even if the $500 million is lost, no matter how bad it is, at least it will sound well. Zhu Ke has invested heavily in cooperating with overseas countries and regions. He has not forgotten to raise and build his own film distribution channels. Now he has a small scale and is enough to undertake a lot of distribution business. So courageous, Baron Tobit asked. This is indeed your confidence. You are not afraid to turn your face with him. However, Finding Nemo is about to be released in overseas markets, so you are not afraid to bear the huge loss of the box office, which is not good for you to harvest a box office, Lehman. I have signed a cooperation agreement with Mr. Lehman Schweitz, Zhu Ke said lightly. Boom, you, at this moment, Rao is the old man Tobit, who has always been the same in the past, and he is also amazed. Lehman Schweitz, born in a small village in Scotland, is 73 years old and has the nationalities of Britain, Germany, France, and Italy. His industry involves coal, steel, finance, petroleum and other energy and minerals, and is owned by European governments. Guessed at the same time, in addition to the name of the European energy tycoon, he is also one of Europe's largest distributors of movie peripheral products, and he has many cooperations with Hollywood's Big Six. There is no doubt that Lyman is a real boss. Compared with Baron Tobit, he was completely a younger brother. No, the two are simply not comparable. You got the favor of Mr. Lyman, old Tobit asked in amazement. Hearing this, Zhu Ke immediately shook his head and said, everyone needs what they want, of course. Zhu would not tell the old man Tobit that Wald Pictures worked hard for nearly a year in order to achieve the cooperation with Lehman. In the past, CEO Victor opened the way, and then Bill Mitnick explored in depth, and then David Messer and Taro Hashimoto's efforts led to the cooperation. How can success be achieved overnight? After all, Lehman's cooperation is not the sixth major Hollywood film and television giants. Had it not been for the rise of the Waterworld Animation Company and the launch of the explosive work Finding Nemo, it is estimated that the cooperation will definitely not be now. Since then, the confrontation between Zucker and Baron Tobit is over. Zhu Ke wins. You won, buddy, Baron Tobit said. I will repay the money you have received in the near future, including the various movie shares that are in arrears. Hearing this, Zhu Ke immediately smiled and said, thank you for the generosity of the Baron. I hope that our next cooperation will be like glue. Definitely, Baron Tobit solemnly said. Although Zhu hated this little old man in his heart, personal emotions belong to personal emotions, and interests are eternal. Everyone is an adult, and there are not only right and wrong, black and white in the world. What if we continue to cooperate? Again, as long as it can bring benefits to oneself, it is a friend. After an hour, inside the hotel suite, Alexander pushed in, boss, the lawyer's letter and the lawsuit. I have drafted it with everyone, and I can sue them at any time, Alexander said solemnly. Zhu nodded and said, according to the original plan. Okay, Alexander replied and left. The so-called original plan was to kill the chickens and curse the monkeys. More than $110 million of funds were owed by distributors in various regions for no reason, minus $13 million of funds were intercepted by them for greed and no reason. Don't look at Zhu's screaming and strong words in the banquet hall before, but he will never tell them all. This is not Zhu Ke's distressed money for litigation, but it is too time-consuming. Economic disputes and international lawsuits have been fought for 7 to 8 years. It is completely normal. First get rid of a few people and suppress most of them. There is also Lyman's power, and the compromise of the little old man Tobit, not afraid to suppress them. Of course, Zhu Ke also knows that this method can only play a short-term role. The greed of the human heart has no bottom line. If we really want to completely cure this phenomenon, we must raise and build our own overseas distribution channels instead of multi-party cooperation and profit others is theirs after all, and it will never become its own. Time. What I lack now is time. Give me another 3 to 5 years. I don't believe that a true and complete overseas distribution channel can be established. At this moment, classmate Zhu Ke is full of pride. In the following days Zhu Ke successively arrived in France, Germany, Italy, Spain and other places to discuss cooperation projects with various ground snakes, and to promote the movie Finding Nemo. The accompanying personnel did not slack off, and they were busy all the time. David Messer, mainly responsible for appearing on TV, accepting interviews, and vigorously promoting movies, as the president of Wald Pictures. Bill Mitnick conducted inspections of branches in Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and Western countries and regions to further consolidate the achievements of Wald Pictures' overseas distribution channels. Taro Hashimoto, as the president of the SpongeBob House chain, and the head of the home entertainment department of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, has full authority to develop cooperation with Lehman. SpongeBob SquarePants and Peppa Pig will enter the European market vigorously in the surrounding areas. The peripheral authorization of Finding Nemo is even more important. At the same time, the very popular Bets doll, which was born not long ago, will also be sold in Europe and other countries and regions. A group of people worked continuously for several days and gained a lot. At the end of August, the animated film Finding Nemo was first released in Britain, France, and Germany on the day it opened. The box office of Finding Nemo exploded. It achieved excellent performance in the film markets of Britain, France, and Germany. Isn't that the first place in the box office of the day, dude? You reading www.can'tchew.com. This is Finding Nemo. In the North American market, the cumulative box office of Finding Nemo is also close to $200 million, and it is making great strides forward. The $300 million box office in North America is just around the corner. September 3rd, after Zhu attended the first day of the painting of Finding Nemo in Spain, he took a flight with everyone and returned to the United States, Portugal, Austria, Denmark, Norway, Sweden. In the film market of these countries, Finding Nemo has also been released one after another. Film markets in countries and regions in Asia and Australia have also opened up to the film as of September 10th, Finding Nemo in the market outside North America, in a very short period of time, won the box office of $300 million in one fell swoop. Suddenly, the various Hollywood studios opt for shock. The second update is sent. Chapter 312, Fox abolishes the animation department. Warner Brothers Pictures. Barry Meyer, who had just taken the position of vice president of Warner Brothers Pictures and took the position of CEO, couldn't help but be stunned when he looked at the report in his hand. "Boss, what's the matter with you?" the secretary, Miss Daisy, asked. "Oh," Barry Meyer regained his senses and sighed. "I just have a little regret and sigh. You said that Warner owns the world-renowned comics company DC Comics and owns thousands of superhero copyrights. We have a strong position in the field of comics and animation. There was a time when it was almost on par with Disney, but now," Miss Daisy was suddenly speechless. Yes, how strong DC Comics used to be. However, with the box office failure of Batman and Robin, the performance of the entire DC Comics has also been greatly reduced. Not only that, even the field of animation is in decline. The animation market, especially the cinema animation market, is currently dominated by Steve Jobs' Pixar animation family, closely followed by DreamWorks Animation. I never thought. In addition to Pixar Animation and DreamWorks Animation, even Waterworld Animation under the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group has also risen strongly. What are we doing in recent years? Barry Meyer was extremely depressed. Why are the six Hollywood giants called the Six Giants? Not only do they have historical heritage, but also because they have a complete global distribution channel at the same time. Various projects and themes of film and television production have always maintained an advantageous position. Obviously, the emergence of Pixar Animation, DreamWorks Animation, and Waterworld Animation directly seized and carved up the movie market of cinema animation, and even the six major Hollywood companies were very weak. Of course, the six powerless companies refer to the three film companies of Warner, Columbia, and Universal. The other three companies all have their own strong performance in the animation field. Pixar Animation, behind which is the Disney Group, DreamWorks Animation is behind the Paramount Group, Blue Sky Studio, behind which is 20th Century Fox Pictures and News Corporation. In addition, the Blue Sky Studio, which produced Ice Age in the future, has not yet been acquired by News Corporation, but the cooperation between the two parties is also extremely close, and the acquisition will become a reality at any time. Disney, Paramount, Fox, either their own company's cinema animations are strong, or the partners are strong, but what about Warner? Barry Meyer was slightly worried. If we can't invest heavily in the animation field, we will soon lose the cinema animation market. Upon hearing this, the secretary, Miss Daisy, said in astonishment, "Boss, is it so serious?" "Yes," Barry Meyer said firmly. At this moment, Zhu Ke is not here, otherwise he would be surprised. Barry Meyer's inference is completely correct. In the future, as of 2020, Warner's animation department has not produced any well-known cinema animations except for the old-school DC superhero animations, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Scooby-Doo, Polar Express, very few. Moreover, the few animated films that Warner produced in the 21st century were all before 2010. In other words, they will completely abandon the cinema animation film market in the future. Give up, do not. To be precise, they were kicked out of the cinema animation film market. Of course, the future of Sony, Columbia and Universal Pictures will be more miserable than Warner in terms of animation films. 20th Century Fox Pictures, as the boss of Rupert Murdoch, the ass at sea in his heart set off a stormy sea. The animated film, Frozen Planet, produced by our company, failed miserably at the box office in the North American market, and the box office gains in overseas markets are even negligible. In order to build my own animation company, The money I have paid before and after is completely no less than that of Pixar Animation and DreamWorks Animation, but, how unfair God is, even the guys Zhu with Finding Nemo has made more than $500 million in the global box office. Even if Zhu and Murdoch have a good friendship, at this moment, Murdoch's heart is full of unhappy acquisition, abolished Fox Pictures Animation Department and acquired Blue Sky Animation Studio. Yes, this is Murdoch's thinking at this time. Just do it without hesitation within a few days. In the new round of group meetings of Fox Pictures, Murdoch put forward this idea. Agree. Our own animation department is completely useless. It will only waste our money and simply let them all go away. I've said long ago that Chris Malerton is just a mouthpiece, and he can't do anything else, so let him go quickly. Numerous shareholders and shareholder representatives very much agree with Murdoch's decision. 1. Abolish the animation department of Fox Pictures. 2. Acquiring Blue Sky Animation Studio and turning it into a subsidiary of Fox Pictures. Once the board meeting is over, the order will take effect immediately. What? How can it be? Is this true? The head of Fox's animation department, Chris Malerton, who had just received the decision-making order of the board of directors, was completely dazed, and immediately full of unwillingness he was swept out. Do not. The hundreds of people in the entire Fox animation department will be swept out. I want to see Mr. Murdoch, and I will convince him, Chris Malerton yelled outside the company. However, Murdoch, who was burning with anger, did not give him a chance at all. Don't even give him a chance to meet. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, for a week in a row, Chris Malerton almost broke his leg, and no one at Fox Pictures was willing to give him and them a chance to make a comeback. Ever since, Chris Malerton, he was angry. Good, you drove me away. One day, I will make you regret it. Disney Animation once drove out Jeffrey Katzenberg www.wooksyaspit.com and caused the rise of DreamWorks Animation. Then I will be like Jeffrey Katzenberg. Revenge on Fox Pictures in the future. Chris Malerton made up his mind. Most people in the world have never heard of his name, but when it comes to the company he will establish in the future, I believe many people will know about it. Lighting Entertainment Company. The well-known Lighting Entertainment Company is good at the production of animated movies. The animated movies produced by it, such as Despicable Me, Minions, The Secret Life of Pets, and Happy Voice, will be very well known in the future. In the original time and space history, Chris Malerton was swept out by Fox and his team was disbanded. It happened after 2000, during the release of Blue Sky Studios' Ice Age, but now, due to the appearance of Zhu Ke, Finding Nemo came out ahead of schedule, making Murdoch determined to make an animated film. The first update is sent. Chapter 313, The East Factory Needs Talent Like You. The East Factory needs talent like you. This sentence originated from Cao Zhengjin, the governor of the East Factory in the TV series The First Under Heaven, which was once popular in the Great Dynasty. This sentence also applies to Hollywood. Chris Malerton is the founder of the animation department of Fox Pictures. Although the animation works produced in recent years have caused Fox Pictures to form a huge loss, it can be called a big loss, but it cannot be denied that Fox Pictures, the past contribution of the industry animation department in 1989, the animation work of The Simpsons came from the animation department of Fox Pictures. Once it came out, it was loved by countless children and became the ace drama in the American animation field. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Sony Columbia Pictures' Amy Pascal, who just took up the post of president of Sony Columbus Pictures, convened a meeting of company executives as soon as he learned that Malerton was swept away by Fox Pictures. There is no doubt that Malerton is an animation genius, Amy Pascal solemnly said. Pixar Animation, DreamWorks Animation, and Waterworld Animation have risen one after another. Even Blue Sky Studio has achieved good results in the Oscar Animation Awards. But, what about Sony Columbia? We have almost nothing to do in the cinema animation market. Therefore, I think this is an opportunity to recruit Malerton and Malerton's team, and build our Columbus animation team based on this, so that we can get a bite of cake in the animation film market. Solicitation. As soon as the voice fell, several executives laughed disdainfully on the spot. Vice President James Jackson curled his lips and said, "President Pascal, are you kidding? You said Malerton is a genius in the animation field, then I ask you, why did Fox Pictures fire him? Why did you abolish the whole animation department and team?" Remarks. Vice President James Jackson was sued in court in 2004 for the household abuse scandal and paid $829,000 in damages. I agree with the views of Vice President Jackson. Maladin and his team have caused Fox Pictures to lose more than $150 million in just 4 years. The box office market has failed miserably, and the Oscars have not achieved any success. Just ask, we want what is he doing, Loyal, the president of the home entertainment department, sneered, seconded, agree, we are not a garbage station. Why do we want so much garbage that has been swept out of the house? Hollywood chasing winners is a consistent tradition. When you are successful, directors and production companies will be around you, and touting them. But when you are in a trough, quagmire, or failure, there are not too many people who want to trample you to death at this moment. Most of the Sony Columbia executives present were against President Amy Pascal's proposal. Do you really think this proposal is completely unnecessary? Amy Pascal looked terribly ugly, and asked again, Pascal, although you are the president of Sony Columbia Pictures, do you want to ignore everyone's opinions? I believe that the group board of directors will not support you. Vice President James Jackson said solemnly. Made me look bad. That's right, Jackson, as the vice president, didn't pay attention to the new president Pascal at all. Why? Because the president Amy Pascal is a woman. In Hollywood's major film companies, when male executives account for 95%, the situation of female executives is completely imaginable. At the same time, when Pascal was appointed president of Columbia Pictures in 1999, it seemed to the outside world that she still lacked a certain quality as a leader of a film company. Even guessing when she will be fired by Sony's boss, it turned out to be a hot topic in Hollywood. Now Amy Pascal is nominally the head of Sony Columbia Pictures, but in fact he has no control at all, and many people oppose her. Humph, Pascal snorted coldly, remember. You must remember today's meeting. Because of your stupidity, our Columbia company missed a talent, an opportunity that would allow us to return to the animated film market. You one day, I will feel ashamed of being stupid today. After speaking, she disregarded everyone's reaction, shouted the meeting is over, and left the scene angrily. As the saying goes, if someone steps on it, someone will praise it. Fox Pictures dismissed Maladin and his team as if they were left alone. Columbus Films Incorporated missed Maladin because of internal conflicts, but, in Hollywood, there are still several film companies chasing them. Haha, Maladin laughed at himself. The film company chasing us doesn't even have a second-tier film company. They recruited my team and me, so what space do I have? I am sorry, although Maladin is a total loser at present, he still has his own pride. He can't look down on those third and fourth-tier film companies. He wanted to go to the company, and there were only 6 giant companies from beginning to end. I will learn from Jeffrey Katzenberg and take revenge on Fox Pictures one day. Therefore, he has few choices. The Disney Group was first ruled out. People have Pixar Animation in their hands, so what does it need to do? Paramount Group is the second choice, but they and DreamWorks are getting hot, extremely close, soliciting Maladin. Isn't it adding to the blockage of DreamWorks Animation? It's like you're pursuing a girl, but you hook up with another girl and glaring at her. What do you make both parties think? After eliminating multiple choices, there's only one most suitable object: Universal Pictures. However, Universal Pictures is currently negotiating the acquisition with the French Vivendi Group. Where can I have the time to meet him? Is there really no way at all? Maladin was a little anxious, of course. The team of hundreds of people who were swept out by Fox together with Maladin was even more anxious. Even in the United States, a favorite job is not so easy to find, even in a highly sought-after industry. It is just like the college entrance examination, with thousands of people breaking into a single plank bridge at this time. www.uxiaspit.com. Zhu Ke Wald Pictures, we are here. Maladin himself and his team are a little tempted. Waterworld Animation Company is already well known for the 2 series of Little Pig Page and SpongeBob SquarePants. Recently, Finding Nemo has become a big hit, and its popularity has further improved. Boss, let's go. Yes, I heard that Waterworld Animation will be listed on the US stock market in the near future. After we join in, we will definitely not lack funds. Everyone persuaded Maladin at the same time. Zhu Ke is also looking forward to it. Minions, Despicable Me, The Secret Life of Pets, are all world-renowned animated films. How can a chicken thief, such as Zhu Ke's classmate, not be moved? The second update is sent. Chapter 314, Manhattan Underwear Fair. Manhattan Underwear Fair, the full name is Victoria's Secret. The Autumn and Winter Lingerie Fair in Manhattan Financial District, New York, 1999. The lingerie fair was actually a preview of the Dacking event at the end of 1999 by Victoria's Secret. In order to host this trade fair, Victoria's Secret Company will hold a grand catwalk show. Naturally, it is indispensable to invite celebrities from all walks of life to invite them to participate. Zhu Ke, a classy Hollywood media tycoon, and a wealthy man with a net worth of more than $10 billion, accepted the invitation unwillingly on the journey to the destination by car. Lima, don't you participate in this catwalk show, but just watch the movie? Zhu Ke asked the female companion next to him curiously. Please, I am also a senior model with many years of experience in the runway industry. I am considered a well-known model. This time, the Manhattan Underwear Fair runway show, the models participating are all young people who have not been in business for a long time. Why should I be on the runway? Adriana Lima said. That's it. Although Zhu Ke's girlfriend Lima is a model, Zhu Ke doesn't know much about the industry, or it's very simple. I'm not a little plum, I just stare at models, Zhu Ke secretly said in his heart after a few seconds. Zhu Ke said again, have you really decided? At this moment, Zhu Ke's expression became extremely solemn. Okay, Lima nodded heavily and said, I have been thinking about it for a long time. I will retire after participating in the 1999 Victoria's Secret year-end celebration. But, doesn't I really need to consider my contract with Victoria's Secret? Hearing this, Zhu Ke laughed and said, don't worry, they will give me this face. Let Victoria's Secret terminate Lima's contract in advance. Is it a problem for Zucker? Zhu Ke said again, even if they don't give me this face, the big deal is to pay liquidated damages. Am I a person with no money? Lima immediately kissed Zucker on the cheek with joy. On a global scale, those young girls started to receive T-station training when they were young. Is it really because of dreams? Do not. Many people are forced by life. Adriana Lima is the undisputed top model in the world in the original time and space, one of the most valuable models, and one of the few female models who are not scandalous and clean and self-contained. They have a great reputation in the world. Visibility, but now she has just become famous and has not yet reached the peak. She will retire at the end of this year and leave the runway forever. Do you still need to say the reason? Naturally, Zhu Ke doesn't like his girlfriend, and he is in the big dying vat industry of modeling. After all, the chaos in the modeling industry is even more infamous than the entertainment industry. Although Zhu Ke has a thick face and a dark heart, he is also a face-conscious man. By the way, after you retired, whether you continue to work in the fashion industry, do other things, or even study film and television production, I will support you, Zhu Ke added. Lima nodded, okay. But I have to think about it. Not long after, Zhu Ke and others drove to the destination, Victoria's Secret 1999 New York Manhattan Financial District Autumn and Winter Underwear Fair. Its huge banner, and countless bright-colored ribbons, continue to flutter in the breeze. Zhu Ke Wald. As soon as Zhu Ke arrived at the scene, someone called Zhu Ke's name behind him. Turn around and take a look. Yes, really an acquaintance. Zhu Ke looked at the blond young man who kept walking towards him, and said with a smile, I should have thought of it a long time ago. How could I be missing you on this kind of catwalk show? Leonardo DiCaprio. That's right, the person here is the little plum who Zhu Ke just said about staring at models. Don't say that, man. The reason why I am here today is really not to watch the catwalk show. I came with a mission. Zio Lizzie smiled. What's the situation? Zhu Ke asked curiously. Since the release of Titanic in 1997, Zio Lizzie has gone from a well-known child star to a world-renowned Jack. He has successfully made a fortune in the world, and various brand endorsements have been softened. It stands to reason that he should take advantage of the victory and make more commercial blockbusters to consolidate his reputation as the hottest actor, but he didn't. He chose to settle for 2 years to enrich himself. It was not until February 1999 that he was invited by 20th Century Fox to join the crew of the $50 million film Beach as the male number one. As of September, the Beach movie has already been produced and is now being announced, and this time, the Manhattan Underwear Fair is undoubtedly a point of publicity by the Beach crew. Zhu Ke smiled. The task belongs to the task, and Lion is Lion. I believe you will not return empty-handed this time. Oh? How can you be sure that I will meet a female model that makes me attractive today? Zio Lizzie questioned. Then let's wait and see. Zhu Ke patted Zio Li on the shoulder. Although Zio Lizzie's title of specializing on models is extremely loud, he is also very picky. He is not a female model. Who can catch him but? Zhu Ke has faith in his words. Gisele Bündchen. Yes, among the female models participating in the catwalk show this time, there is the well-known model Gisele Bündchen, who will have entangled with the little plum for several years in the future. Zhu Ke didn't know it at first, but only through the list given by the waiter. Look at it. Zhu Ke smiled mysteriously at Xiao Li. Zhu Ke, Lima, and Xiao Lizzie walked into the venue together at the underwear fair in Manhattan Financial District. The invited senior social elites are naturally a bunch of Wall Street people, for example, Henry Jojenberg and Andy Chenup of Gale Capital. "Hi, boss. Long time no see." The two stood up and greeted. Zhu Ke shook hands with each other and smiled. "Don't call me boss again. Don't forget that you two are also the bosses of Daffin Capital. The company is not unique to me, although Daffin Capital was created by Zhu Ke. Since last year, Zhu Ke has donated 35% of the shares to 12 elites, including Henry and Andy. Financial speculation on Wall Street is sometimes not something you can do with money. It depends to a large extent on the corresponding talents. Therefore, Zhu Ke gave them shares and gave them extremely generous, allowing them to become partners of Daffin Capital. Of course, Zhu Ke is also very proud of his decision. Last year, www.uxiaspit.com, Zhu Ke received dividends from Gale Capital as much as $160 million. Mr. Wald, you can rest assured that when the dividends are settled by the end of the year, your personal income will definitely exceed $200 million. Henry Jojenberger proudly said. "Yes," analysis expert Andy Chenup added. "Looking at the entire Wall Street, even if our strong base is far less than Goldman Sachs, Citigroup and other 5 major investment banks, we are definitely the leader among small and medium-sized investment banks. This year alone, the amount of external funds absorbed is as high as $4 billion." Hearing this, Zhu Ke was also shocked. Should it be heavy speculation on the internet? The internet bubble is not far away. If this is the case, then I will most likely lose a lot in the future. This issue cannot be helped by Zhu Ke not paying attention to it. The first update is sent. Chapter 315, decided to do one game. Internet stocks, of course. Mr. Wald, don't you talk about a movie company? Your personal wealth has soared. Whether it is investing in the stocks of Yahoo and Amazon, or being one of the founders of ICQ, it is not an internet stock fortune. In recent years, internet stocks are definitely profiteering industries, especially today's performance in the second half of the year. Its profitability and high profitability are much more profitable than speculative oil, silver, gold and other futures. To tell you the truth, only the 3 months of profit in the second half of the year will offset the profit comparable to our earnings in the previous 6 months. Henry Jojenberg glanced at Zucker in a strange reality, and then began to give a good introduction. Zhu Ke was startled, and said, "How much did you invest in internet stocks?" $900 million. Boom. As soon as this number came out, Zhu Ke's heart was half cold. Man, that's the internet bubble. Don't look at the fact that American stocks are crazy about internet speculation, and they make a lot of money, but when the internet bubble comes, do you think they can laugh out one by one? You can't afford to die. You must know that Zhu Ke is the major shareholder of Daffin Capital, occupying 65% of the shares once the $900 million continue to hold internet stocks. Zhu Ke will definitely lose a lot in the end. Oh, by the way, Mr. Wald, and I and the other people in the team have analyzed. We plan to continue to increase our investment in internet stocks. Henry Jojenberger said. Hugh's face changed. How? Are you afraid of losing your life, and want to continue to increase your holdings? Analysis expert Andy Chenup added. Mr. Wald, we have calculated, and we will continue to increase our holdings by $1 billion. It is completely feasible for our financial situation. Invest another $1 billion. Go to you. Zhu Ke is the largest shareholder of Daffin Capital, with a shareholding ratio of more than 51%. However, because Zhu Ke's development focus is always on the entertainment industry, he rarely comes to New York and Wall Street, and does not have so many people's energy, so he delegates the greatest power to Henry and Andy and other professionals. Of course, auditing is an indispensable means. The last audit was in May this year. I never thought that in the past few months, they didn't pay much attention to Daffin Capital. They actually came up with such a big moth. Zhu Ke's thoughts were full of thoughts. Having invested $900 million, Zhu Ke is already shocked. He is investing $1 billion. Is he afraid? Not going to die fast enough. Zook, the T-stage performance has started. Lima interjected. Performance? Where does Louds all have leisure to watch the show now? Fuck your grandma a leg. All of a sudden, Zhu Ke's mind turned back and forth, thinking about many ways to cope. Judging from the current situation, investing in internet stocks is definitely profitable, especially before the bubble crisis broke out. It is definitely the last madness. 2 words make money, but before the crisis broke out, How to get rid of it was definitely a problem. There are still a lot of internet shares that I personally hold in my hands. There are still a lot of them that have not been released, and they must be released as soon as possible. However, should I agree with Dafn Capital's investment to continue to increase its holdings? Or should I get rid of it as soon as possible? This is a problem. More than an hour later, the T-stage performance was over under the leadership of the designer. A group of girls dressed up and dressed extremely boldly took the stage to pay tribute and curtain call to more than 500 elites from all walks of life. Gisele Bündchen. Although there are many beautiful models on the stage, Zhu saw at a glance Gisele Bündchen, who is still slightly young and only 18 years old. Hey, Zhu, have you seen it? It's that girl. She's so sexy. The little plum is still the little plum, always changing his girlfriend and eating secretly, but the taste is always the long legs. Of course Zhu knew who he was talking about apart from Gisele Bündchen, which female model can be. Zio Lizzie was next to Zhu Ke and said, "Man, I just watched you stare at the girl for a long time. Don't tell you to get started. I tell you, he will be mine." Well, man, you are all Lima. Don't fight with me as a little actor, okay? Zhu suddenly despised him strongly. It does not make sense, dude. You just want to persuade me to give up, and keep your voice down anyway. Lima is also next to me, bastard, little Lizzie said sternly. Zhu, I think I will go with that girl forever. I firmly believe that I am not having a playful mentality this time. Haha. Zhu Ke smiled back. Believe you a ghost. At the beginning of 2000, Zio Lizzie and Gisele Bündchen successfully joined hands. Good-looking men and beautiful women. One is a top young male actor in Hollywood, and the other is a top model in the world. This pair of men and women has successfully attracted the attention of countless media and people who eat melons. It was a sensation. Just a few months later, the two who fell in love held a grand engagement banquet. Many people resented it, of course. Many people also blessed it, but the cat keeps stealing fishy. As the most well-known actor in Hollywood, even if he is engaged, there are still many girls around him who will follow suit, fly moths to the fire, and throw themselves into the net. Well, as a veteran of the Huangshangs Alley, naturally, he will not refuse to come and accept all orders. Since then, Zio Lizzie and Gisele Bündchen staged a big drama of dividing and combining, combining and dividing, and the number of times is not too much in those few years. The news of the two people's separation and combination can cover a street. Man, I hope you can go on. Zhu looked at the triumphant little plum with his eyes full of compassion. As a veteran of Huanshang, there will not be too many girlfriends in the future, but there is no doubt that he and Gisele Bündchen have been dating for the longest time. A full 5 years. The next day Zhu Ke visited Dafn Capital Investment Company. Continue to increase holdings or immediately get rid of it. After a whole night of deliberation, Zhu made a decision. I agree to continue to increase holdings, Zhu Ke announced as soon as the voice fell. The whole scene immediately remembered the shouting. Yes, that's it. Henry Jogenberg was overjoyed and said, Mr. Wald, your decision is absolutely wise. Andy Chen up on the side immediately smiled and said, please rest assured, within a week, I will be able to raise funds. However, Zhu shook his head. Zhu Ke waved his hand. Since everyone is optimistic about internet stocks, then play big. Directly increase your holdings by $2 billion. $2 billion. This number is alarming. It is important to know that plus Dafn Capital's original investment of more than $900 million, the total investment before and after will be as high as $3 billion. Looking at the entire Wall Street market, investment banks that can invest $3 billion in one fell swoop are definitely one of the few. Henry hesitated. Mr. Wald, $3 billion of capital, but it occupies 1/3 of our total capital. You have to know, once we lose, our Gale Capital will not be far from bankruptcy. Relax, everything has me. Zucker certainly understood Henry's concerns. Henry and others, as senior practitioners on Wall Street www.wuxiaspit.com, naturally understand the illusion of overheating and false prosperity in the market. While investing in internet stocks, they are also worried about market changes. However, Zhu is a traverser. Afraid what, guys? Don't forget, Zhu Ke said, during the Asian financial crisis in 1997, I had precise vision. You have not seen it before. I also considered the problem of overheating and false prosperity in internet stocks. Now the increase in holdings can definitely make a lot of money. The question of letting go? Still the same sentence, everything is mine. Yes, Zhu decided to do it. The internet bubble is a huge crisis for many people, but it is undoubtedly a capital feast for the foresighted Zhu Ke. Why should we miss this opportunity to make a fortune if we don't want to kill ourselves for ourselves? Good Henry immediately stated, if this is the case, I will accompany you to the end. I will simply have another Asian financial crisis. The second update is sent. Chapter 316, Cash reserves increased by another $2.6 billion. Los Angeles. Since Zhu finished his New York trip and returned to Los Angeles, he immediately called the two think tanks under his command: private lawyer, Zhang Wei, general personal financial counsel, Anna Josephine. I call you over this time. There are two main things. Zhu Ke raised his fingers and said in a deep voice, first, I want to set up a professional think tank team. I hope that lawyer Zhang Wei can entrust a headhunting company to find it. Zhang Wei and Anna looked at each other immediately. Zhang Wei asked, Mr. Wald, I know. However, it will take some time to recruit a truly top think tank. 3 months, Zhu Ke said immediately. I know the difficulties, so I give you 3 months. That's okay. Zhang Wei breathed a sigh of relief. The recruitment and formation of a professional and top-notch think tank team is definitely not a simple and easy task. Prior to this, although Zhang Wei and Anna were also one of Zhu Ke's think tanks, they were mainly involved in two aspects of law and financial management. In terms of real strategic layout and industrial planning, they were inferior to those professional think tanks. Looking at the Forbes ranking list, which one of the famous figures on the list is not supported by a professional think tank team, one person counts the short and the other counts the length. The ancients sincerely don't deceive me. With the passage of time, Zhu Ke extremely affirmed that in the future the scale of his own company will inevitably grow, and the number of industries involved is bound to increase a lot. By then, relying solely on Zhu Ke's own power is obviously more than justified. Insufficient power. For example, now, Zhu Ke should not only worry about the development of the various subsidiaries of the Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, but also start to focus on the development of various industries such as LinkedIn, Google, California Standard Bank, and soon, he will be busy with the layout of the internet bubble. Zhu is a traverser, yes, but not a god. Just relying on himself, Zhu Ke is tired and half dead, and it is estimated that he will not be able to cover everything, and may even die suddenly. The formation of a professional think tank team is imminent. Mr. Wald, what about the second thing? Anna Josephine asked after Zhang Wei wrote and painted in the notebook. He also fixed his eyes on Zhu Ke. Zhu Ke said sternly, the second thing is the issue of disposing of the shares of major companies that I have mentioned only 2 months ago. In the recent 2 months, Zhu Ke has successively sold off the small shares held by 6 companies including HP, Dell, Oracle, and Cisco, and arbitrated $170 million in cash. You must know that when Zhu Ke bought these shares, the amount spent was only $30 million. Needless to say, Zhu has made a profit. Mr. Wald, this is a recent harvest. You only need to sign and it is completely okay. While talking, Anna took out a stack of authorization documents and a share transaction contract of intent from her briefcase. Microsoft's 0.01% shares are worth $62.25 million. AOL's 0.02% shares are valued at $73 million. 2% of Yahoo's shares, valued at $940 million. Mr. Wald, your shares in Microsoft, AOL, and Yahoo have all increased in the past 2 months, especially AOL shares. Anna explained significant growth in AOL shares. Haha. Zhu Ke laughed and said, AOL announced to the outside world in the form of cash plus shares, with a total price of more than $180 billion. It wants to acquire the news of the world's largest media empire, Time Warner. I also know that, after all, the latest news, it's them. After looking at the contract for a while, Zhu signed the name without hesitation. Microsoft's 0.01% shares, valued at $62.25 million, were eventually sold at a price of 7% higher than the market price, with $66.6 million in cash. AOL's 0.02% shares are valued at $73 million, thanks to its upcoming acquisition of Time Warner Group, a successful 10% premium and $80.3 million in cash. Yahoo's 2% shares are valued at $940 million, a 9% premium, and $1.02 billion in cash is once again recorded. In other words, Zhu sold these shares and was about to acquire $1.167 billion, coming soon. That's right, after all. What Zhu Ke is now signing is only the letter of intent for the resale of shares, not a formal sale and purchase contract. It also needs the witness of the notary office. However, considering the current market situation, there is hardly any surprise for this $1.167 billion in cash. Mr. Wald, you hold 8% of the shares in Amazon.com. The transaction application has been approved by the China Securities Regulatory Commission and Amazon's board of directors and notified in written documents. That is to say, you can now trade this part of the shares at any time. Anna said. Okay, Zhu nodded and said, 8% of Amazon's shares, I will not be completely traded, only 2.9%. After all, I still want to retain a seat on Amazon's board of directors. Zhu Ke is definitely not distressed when he sells part of Amazon's shares. Anyway, the internet bubble is just around the corner. It's a big deal to wait a few months, and then buy a part of it from the market at a low price. I definitely made a lot of money before and after. 2.9% of Amazon shares. The current market price is as high as $1.392 billion. There is absolutely no worries about buyers for this share. Really, in less than a week, Zhu Ke successfully sold 2.9% of Amazon's shares and sold them at a price of 5% higher than the market price, once again crediting $1.46 billion in cash as of now, with the exception of Apple's 3.72% stocks and Amazon's 5.1% stocks. All of the individual holdings of American-listed companies have been emptied by Zhu Ke. $1.167 billion plus $1,460 million equals $2.627 billion. I have to say that Zhu Ke is now a big fat sheep, and his cash reserves are enough to drive many people crazy. If you add in the cash and gold reserves in Zucker's bank account, this figure is even more mouth-watering. A few days later, Zhu Ke received two big news in a row on the same day. Good news, a return message. Mr. Wald, Marvel has just contacted me. They agreed to sell and transfer a share, but the specific share amount is not expected to exceed 20%. Zhang Wei, who reported, Zhu nodded and smiled and said, this is indeed good news. At least the two old Marvel stubbornly spoke in compromise, but they are also treacherous enough. With 20% of the Marvel shares. Are they planning to let me work for them? It's a joke. If you continue to talk to them, you have to take at least 40% of the shares. Okay, Zhang Wei responded in peace. The good news pleases Zhu Ke. However, the bad news is not so good. Melidand and his team, who were swept out by Fox Pictures to create a lighting entertainment company in the future, and produce Minions www.wuxiaspit.com, have already intended to join Zucker's banner before, but who knows, now there is a continuation up. They regretted it. In other words, are we being tricked by them? These guys really don't know what to do. Zhu Ke was a little anxious from Zhang Wei's mouth. Zhu Ke learned the beginning and end of the changes. It turns out that from the very beginning, Melidand himself did not intend to join Zhu Ke's banner. After all, Zhu Ke already has Waterworld Animation Company under his umbrella. The reason why he has kept ambiguity with Zhu Ke's team in the near future is nothing but Zhu Ke to attract more film companies and investors' attention. Sure enough, with the titles of Zhu and Waterworld Animation, Melidand and his team were successfully accepted by some capital markets ever since. Melidand did not hesitate to put aside Zucker. Melidand is shameless enough. Zhu gritted his teeth. The first update is sent. Chapter 317, Kung Fu Panda and Flying House Global. In the afternoon of the same day, Zhu Ke was indignant. Damn Melidand, one day. I will make you pay. Zhu Ke exploded. Throughout Zhu's experience over the past few years, there are loss, confusion, and many setbacks. Was targeted by Warner and film distribution matters. In terms of film grading, it was made difficult by the Film Review Committee. Paramount has also been blood-sucked in projects such as Lola Run and Human Removal Project. However, I have never been played around like a monkey this time. Melidand, you are the first guy I hate very much. You can't get better in the future, I said. Zhu clenched his fists. Not Zhu Ke's little belly chicken intestines. It will never be easy for anyone to be teased. In particular, Zhu Ke, a super rich man with a net worth of tens of billions of dollars, will inevitably become a joke and talk in the mouths of many media and people as this matter is spread. In fact, Zhu got it right. That evening, there were many media newspapers and evening papers that disclosed this fact. Wow, when the lucky Zhu Wald wants to drink cold water to choke his teeth and memorize words, this is really a joke, obviously. Although Melidand was swept out by 20th Century Fox, he is also the founder of the Fox Animation Department. He once created The Simpsons, a popular American animation series, and is a Hollywood animation field. it is reasonable for him to look down on Zhu Ke Wald for a person with a prestigious name. It is said that Zhu Ke Wald even prepared the funds in order to chase Maladin and his team, but someone else sold him in his name and turned around. Tusk how many people admires Zhu Ke in the United States, and how many people hate, and jealous Zhu Ke. In 1999, Zucker's company produced many popular movies such as My Grand Greek Wedding, 300 Spartans, Blair the Witch, Finding Nemo and other popular movies. Other subsidiaries have also produced them. Make effort, such as the explosion of Baez doll. All of this really makes many people's eyes red from jealousy. In private, they don't know how many times they have scolded Zhu Ke now, seeing Zhu Ke deflated. These guys don't know how happy they are, so happy to take off. Rare. Harvey Weinstein, the president of Miramax, laughed at the moment, although he didn't have much interaction with Zhu Ke, and there was no contradiction. But as the so-called colleagues are enemies, he is jealous of Zhu Ke's wealth. It is definitely not a day or two. I can see Zhu Ke this being teased and eaten by others, and I feel lucid. Hey, I just want to laugh when I talk about it. What's going on? No, I'm going to drive one. Celebrate with a bottle of champagne. Paramount Pictures. As an old friend of Zhu Ke, after reading several newspapers, Jordan couldn't help but jokingly said, "Oh, it's really not easy to see Zhu Ke deflate. No, I'll have to call him later." Twunt him severely. Halfway through, Jordan himself was too happy since Zhu Ke founded Wald Pictures. The first film Lola Run was filmed. The copyright of the overseas market was that Jordan took the lead in negotiating with Zhu Ke. For this reason, Paramount made a lot of money. Subsequently, Zhu Ke continued to attack and successively acquired Up Television Network, WB Television Network, Jinshuguang Publishing, Jinshuguang Music, and so on. It can be said that Jordan watched Zhu Ke grow step by step into a new Hollywood movie tycoon, media magnate, and billionaire. Even if the two have a good relationship, everyone is jealous, and Jordan is no exception. Pixar Animation Studios, after seeing the explosion of Finding Nemo, Zhu Ke really wants to do a big job in the animation field. There's a Waterworld animation company that he is not enough, and he's eyeing Maladin again, but who knows, others fooled him. John Lasseter said in a daze, "This is expected." Andrew Stanton, who is also one of the 5 Pixar tigers, said in a deep voice, "Melder is a great in the animation field, and even our predecessor, but I have always disagreed with his character. This guy is proud. I had a hunch before that he looked down on Zhu Ke. However, I never expected that he would turn around and kick Zhu Ke." On this day, people who joke about Zucker a lot. Zhu Ke even dared to imagine that when he attends certain activities in the future, there will definitely be some sand sculptures that do not deal with him, and tell him about it. All kinds of anger finally turned into a sentence. "Maladin, you will regret it. Face is sometimes very important." Even a guy with a face like a city wall like Zhu Ke can completely let go of other people's joking behind their backs. At the end of September, Zhu Ke came to Waterworld Animation Company and called a group of executives to a meeting. So far, the animated film Finding Nemo has been released for nearly 2 months, and has achieved a box office of $240 million in North America, and is steadily thinking about $300 million. Although it has only been released for more than 1 month in overseas markets, it has landed successively. There are as many as 65 countries and regions, with a box office of more than $500 million. Global box office cumulative breakthrough, $740 million. This number shocked all major Hollywood studios, and at the same time envied and hated them. Box office share, peripheral authorization, TV platform broadcasting, DVD and videotape market, all kinds of income have made countless people jealous. In the next 2 years, only one movie, Finding Nemo, can be conservatively estimated to generate nearly $1 billion in revenue for Waterworld Animation. The performance is bright and blinding everyone listed. The main task at present is to get Waterworld Animation Company listed on the US stock market. Don't forget, everyone, our goal is always Pixar Animation and DreamWorks Animation, the world's #1 animation company. This name sounds good. Zhu Ke has long recovered from the anger of being teased by Maladin, and now his company is getting stronger and stronger, which is the most important job. Steven Solenberg, David Messer and many other executives clap their hands in response. Waterworld Animation is listed on the US stock market. Although Zhu Ke is still the biggest profit, they are now shareholders of the company, and their interests are already tied to Zhu Ke. The 2 animations Kung Fu Panda and Flying House Global were immediately thrown out by Zhu Ke in 2008, The animated film Kung Fu Panda, produced by DreamWorks Animation and released by Paramount, with a production cost of $130 million, earned a box office of $6.31 worldwide at the same time. The second and third animated films of the series are also madly harvesting box office around the world. In 2009, the animated film, The World of Flying House, produced by Pixar Animation and distributed by Disney, not only has a high reputation, it has won multiple awards at the Oscars, Golden Globes and Academy Awards, and the box office is also very eye-catching. The global box office of up to $735 million is enough to make it a classic animation loved by countless movie fans. With the two animated films Kung Fu Panda and Flying House global, we will launch them in due course, which can not only promote the further growth of the box office of Finding Nemo www.wuxiaspit.com, but also enable the launch of Waterworld Animation. The brigade is more recognized than expected by the market. David Messer laughed. Steven Solenberg was also happy, and exclaimed, "If we weren't fooled by Mailand, then we can start it now, and it won't be understaffed." Making two animated feature films at the same time is undoubtedly a huge test for Waterworld Animation. Zhu Ke said on the spot, "If there is a shortage of people, then hire them." Moreover, Zhu Ke has one more damage move: digging. Go digging in Mailander's team. Even Zhu Ke wanted to go a step further and cut Who's Little Yellow Man and Despicable Me directly. Zhu Ke Wald is definitely not a magnanimous person. On the contrary, he's extremely vengeful. The second update is sent. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318, Revenge is Not Overnight. Launch two animated feature films at the same time. That is for sure if there is a shortage of people. Up to now, Waterworld Animation has a total of more than 500 people. Excluding non-animation professionals such as logistics and management, there are only more than 400 people if you want to develop the two animations of Kung Fu Panda and the Flying House of the Globe at the same time on the basis of the subsequent episodes of Little Pig Peppa and SpongeBob SquarePants. At least 200 people are needed, boss. This is a staffing arrangement with a production time of 3 years. If you want to shorten the lifespan, then the minimum staffing for each group is 350-400, or even more. Steven Solenberg said. Zhu nodded. Still the same sentence. Hire people if you are short of people. The primary goal is to dig out people from Mailand's team, David Messer immediately said. In addition to these animated films, the second group and I are also planning to develop an animated film with a musical theme in the near future. Music animation movie. What's your name? Zhu Ke curiously asked. Crazy Bias. David Messer responded. What is this? Soon, David Messer told Zucker about it. Crazy Bias is an animation project proposed by David Messer and jointly developed with Bias Doll Factory. The estimated production cost is $30 million. It aims to promote the Bias doll. Of course, the script produced by a group of screenwriters led by David Messer is also very good. I remember. Your proposals were submitted to me and Victor 3 days ago. I haven't had time to read them. The documents are still in my office. Zhu suddenly realized what can Zhu do. Of course I agree. As a traverser, Zhu Ke has naturally watched many excellent animated films in the future, but his generals are able to display their subjective initiative and not blindly rely on themselves, which makes Zhu Ke very gratified. However, the problem is coming again. How many people does the Crazy Bias project need? How long is its production cycle? These problems are unavoidable facts. The long production cycle of animated films has always been an important factor restricting the development of the animation industry. Consider today's Pixar Animation Company. The total number of employees in the entire company is as high as thousands, and in the near future, it will continue to expand. By 2010, the number of employees of Pixar Animation will exceed 3,000 in one fell swoop. The animation industry is quite an industry that eats talent, quality and quantity. The meeting continues to discuss. In the end, Zhu and others set a tone. 1. The two animated series of Little Pig Page and SpongeBob SquarePants will maintain the content production of one season a year. 2. Started the animation production of Crazy Bias, invested $30 million, and is expected to be released by the end of 2001. 3. The production cost of Kung Fu Panda movie is tentatively set at $130 million, and is expected to be released in 2003. 4. The production cost of Flying House Global movie is tentatively set at $160 million and is expected to be released in 2004-5. The script of Finding Nemo 2 began to be edited, and it is expected to be completed in 2005 and released. Listed. Hiring. These two words seem to be the main work of Waterworld Animation Company. 2 days later, his full name is Chris Meldender. And there is a former Fox Pictures animation department head called Meldender. He was just happy for a few days, and his face is full of haze at this moment. Old man, please, I just returned from Munich, Germany, after making an investment agreement. You should be happy. Why do you put on a bad face? The speaker is a middle-aged man who is nearly 50 years old. His name is Leo Nix. He has been a partner of Meldender for many years. He is like a right-hand man and a member of the original Fox animation department. Hey, upon hearing this, Meldender sighed. Old man, I'm not targeting you. You will know by reading these letters. Leo Nix's smiling face was suddenly full of doubts. However, he couldn't laugh any more soon. Jobs? Damn surely. Mundo, Curvillo, Abaz, Cordian. They turned their backs on us and chose to join the Waterworld Animation Company. Asshole. A bunch of ungrateful bastards. Leo Nix was very angry at the moment. He had always been violent, and directly tore these letters to pieces, and repeatedly stamped on the ground while trampling, while swearing, a bunch of bastards. No, I'm going to find them now. I want to see if these have the face to face me. Especially the two guys, Mundo and Curvil. They are my students. It's me. I taught them the skills with painstaking efforts, and they even dared to betray me. I will never forgive them. Leo Nix was furious after speaking. He was about to call, but was stopped by Meldender. Don't call. They are willing to go to the Waterworld Animation Company. Then let them go. Don't forget, Zhu Ke Wald, that guy we can't afford now. Meldender said solemnly. Can't afford to offend. Leo Nix was immediately discouraged after playing around with the billionaire Zhu Ke. He has already been severely offended. If he still dares to raise the mouth now, then Zhu Ke's anger is definitely not something that Meldender and Leo can bear. However, their hearts are bleeding. 117 people, in just 2 days. Waterworld Animation Company, with its strong financial resources and employee benefits, took away 117 of them in one fell swoop, accounting for 1/3 of the total number among them. There are many key personnel and talented designers who have been pried away. We won't be able to repay this enmity in the short term, Meldender said with a solemn expression. Haha. Leo Nix sneered and said, still expecting revenge? I think we should be prepared to be avenged by others. That fellow Zhu Ke Wald, but a cautious eye that must take revenge. Meldender was at a loss for words. In fact, due to the poaching action of Waterworld Animation, some people in Meldender's team were panicked and turbulent. Not everyone can bear the revenge of a billionaire. At the same time, Zhu Ke also received a call from David Messer, vice president of Waterworld Animation. You can't treat the people dug from the Meldender team differently. After all, the people who have enemies with us are Meldender and Leo, not them. It took more than 10 minutes for the call to end. There was a knock on the door. Come in, Zucker said. The visitor is impressively Victor, CEO of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, second only to Zhu Ke. Boss, this is the list of film companies I recently drafted for acquisitions and shares in overseas countries and regions. You can take a look first, Victor said. Hearing this, Zhu Ke took it immediately. The acquisition and shareholding of film companies in overseas countries and regions is a continuous project of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group in recent years, which aims to improve overseas distribution channels. Not bad, Zhu nodded and said, although I warned the greedy dealers and distributors severely when I went to London last time, but the gluttonous dog is the gluttonous dog. www.wooksiaspit.com. They can never change greed. The nature of it. If we cannot establish our own distribution channels, we will suffer sooner or later. The overall box office share of Wald Pictures' overseas channels in various countries and regions is 31%, which is far lower than the 35%-38% of the Big Six in Hollywood. In short, Zhu Ke has to give up a lot of money every year. How can Zhu Ke, who regards wealth as fate, be willing to be sucked blood by others? How much money is needed to acquire and invest in this batch of film companies? Have you ever checked the finances? Zhu Ke asked. $160 million, Victor said solemnly. As long as this operation is completed, our overall overseas box office share will rise by 2 points to 33%. Zhu Ke agreed without hesitation. For the future, it is definitely worth the extra money at this stage. The first update is sent. Chapter 319, Visit the Crew of Spider-Man and Others. The crew of the movie Spider-Man. Today, the Spider-Man crew is extremely busy, and the enthusiasm of all members of the crew is also the most recently, not why. Just because you will be here today, usually you must be active, and you must be even more active when the boss arrives. A senior lighting engineer taught his young apprentices, "Don't mention the teacher, I often hide my personalities. I will teach you the key points of survival in Hollywood today. Others often ignore your contributions, but they will definitely be able to see your shortcomings. Remember, this sentence will be used for life." While the little apprentice suddenly realized, no wonder other lighting engineers have changed one after another, but you can be the chief lighting engineer for Spider-Man with a production cost of $150 million US. Hey, of course. I joined Wald Pictures in the second year of its establishment, but you see, those guys who came earlier than me were either eliminated or beaten behind me. The reason is that you teach me the way of life. It's too powerful. I want to write it down and ponder over and over. The 19-year-old apprentice really took out a notebook from his jacket pocket and recorded it on the spot. The lighting group is like this, such as other prop group, costume group, makeup group, even the staff in the recording, and art teams are also actively performing. David, this guy is really a dog. He likes to be lazy on weekdays, but today, tisk tusk, he's very hardworking. Chang-Ji Anderson poked his lips at a distance. Why does he usually be lazy? People have a backstage. Art George joked. What they call David, named David Shannon, belongs to the production department. It is said that he and the deputy director of production are relatives. No one cares about this kind of thing. Recording Callinger frowned as soon as this remark came out. The people around him suddenly laughed. Field Note Anderson sneered and said, "Students from USC are good students. You have experience too little." "Yes," Art George explained, "your social experience is shallow. I tell you nothing, but remember, don't say this in front of other people." Callinger, who had just graduated from USC and entered the crew soon, immediately pricked his ears. "How do you say it?" A crew consists of dozens of groups including director, starring, supporting role, line roles, actors, producers, art, makeup, scene notes, etc., with no less than 200 people before and after. Like a Spider-Man has a large crew turnover of as many as 1,000 people. It is a small society at all. Society is society. Can you expect everyone to be conscientious and innocent? The existence of relatives is a small scene. Don't forget the existence of the red sofa and unspoken rules. Of course, there is also the money transaction, that is the darker area. As the Art George's explanation came to an end, Carange, who had just started his career, nodded immediately. Relatives are small scenes. In fact, Callinger, who is new to the industry, knows it well. He is trying to understand and pretend to be confused. He has just graduated, so what qualifications can he enter into the first-line Hollywood production crew of Spider-Man? In fact, he gave an executive assistant director $3,000, compared with the performance of the crew of Spider-Man. Those with lines and those without lines are even more active. A woman aspires to be a princess in a fairy tale and dreams of meeting a prince one day. The actors and actresses who have been in Hollywood for many years, especially those who have achieved nothing. The lucky ones in inspirational stories are their essential spiritual food and role models. If you are fortunate enough to be favored by Mr. Zhu Ke Wald and have the honor to play a role with lines, then you will definitely fly to the sky. At this moment, Mipp Wilkinson is full of illusions. He is an actor and a veteran actor who has been on Hollywood studios for more than 10 years. He came out of a small country and always dreamed of becoming a real actor, not actors. Zhu Ke Wald. This name not only symbolizes the tens of billions, but also the spiritual mentor of many dragons: Jacques Phoenix, Charlize Theron, Paul Walker. They are all newcomers discovered by Zhu Ke. Work hard and work hard. Amy Adams, the heroine of the Butterfly Effect crew Next Door, was just a bar dancer and waitress at the Manor not long ago. She can be seen by Mr. Wald from the role of the dragon, so why can't I? What? Who is worse than whom? Manion, a young girl from Florida, secretly cheered herself up throughout the well-known actors in Hollywood. There are too many people who have become superstars. For example, before the bus forced Brad Pitt to become a star, he drove a porn star as a driver for more than half a year. Angelina Jolie is even more typical of a bad girl. She has been on the set since she was a child, and she is a serious low-level role background. There are simply not too many such examples. The actors in the Dragon set are active and strive to show the good side. As for the leading actors and main supporting actors, that is even more to please Zhu Ke. For example, in Spider-Man, James Franco plays the role of Little Green Devil Harry Osborn. He came from an artistic family and is a rebellious young man who loves music, drinking, scribbling, graffiti and other creations. At the same time, he is also a master of mathematics and once worked for Lockheed Martin, a world-renowned military industry group, but just such a very good guy. He also expressed great expectations for Zhu Ke's arrival. "I want to be famous. I want to be a Hollywood superstar," he shouted in his heart more than once at this stage. James Franco is very envious of Joaquin Phoenix. Once upon a time, Joaquin Phoenix, as a young actor, was implicated because his brother Evan Phoenix died of drugs, and almost lost the space to survive in Hollywood. However, Zhu Ke appeared. Joaquin followed Zhu Ke www.wuxiaspit.com and starred in Deadly Bend, Recognize the Clearance Plan, My Grand Greek Wedding and many other films. Relying on his excellent performance and outstanding box office results, in one fell swoop to become a hot young actor in Hollywood. He can do it. I can't do it without reason. James Franco, known as the Fulan, is full of confidence in himself. At the same time, Tobey Maguire, who plays the role of actor Peter Parker, Kirsten Dunst in the role of the heroine Mary Jane, William Dafoe who plays the villain Green Goblin, even Sam Raimi, the director of the film, is looking forward to Zhu Ke's arrival. Ever since, just under the expectations of countless people, Zhu Ke's motorcade arrived at the shooting scene. The second update is sent. Chapter 320, Superhero movies require acting skills. Thousands of guns blast. Fireworks are splashing. Loud gongs and drums. Well, none of these however. For Zhu Ke's visit, all the crew members on the scene still broke out with extraordinary enthusiasm, and the applause and shouts were endless. Mr. Wald, you are welcome. When the producer of the film, Bill Mitnick, was not on the scene, it was natural that Sam Raimi, the director of the film, took the lead. Handshake. Director Sam did a good job. Don't think I've been to the shooting scene several times, but I have seen all of your shots, which is quite good. Zhu Ke laughed. This sentence is by no means a false statement. As a traverser, Zhu Ke may not be as veteran and experienced in film and television production as Bill Mitnick, but Zhu Ke is at least open, and his ability in film review is absolutely top-notch. Zhu Ke regularly participates in the review of Spider-Man shooting clips. Even if he is busy, he will spare a certain amount of time. After all, in the Spider-Man movie, Zhu Ke has the title of chief producer. You praised Sam Raimi became humble. Zhu Ke immediately smiled and said, "Don't be humble. I said that you did a good job. That is, you did a good job. The screen segmentation, color ratio, lens control, you did it perfectly." Suddenly Sam Raimi himself was thrilled by Zhu Ke's affirmation and recognition. Well, his complexion is also a little red. Before he filmed Spider-Man, Sam Raimi was already a well-known director, but his main achievement is in horror thriller movies. The Ghost Man series was created by him. Since his debut, Sam Raimi has also directed a science fiction film called Transformed Black Man, which allowed him to successfully win the Saturn Award for Best Science Fiction Director. However, the box office was a fiasco. Sam Raimi can only shoot horror thriller movies, science fiction movies. He can't play Robert Redford, founder of the Sundance Film Festival. At this moment, Sam Raimi was grateful to Zhu Ke. "I still want to thank Mr. Wald for giving me this opportunity. I want to prove to the old guy Robert Redford that I can shoot a sci-fi movie with high reputation and high box office. I believe you." Zhu Ke smiled. Although Zhu Ke has a good friendship with Robert Redford, the founder of the Sundance Film Festival, at this moment Zhu Ke still chooses to stand on Sam Raimi's side. After all, who can make money for himself as a friend? Mr. Wald, it's nice to see you again. At this time, as the hero of the Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire expressed his gratitude loudly to Zhu Ke. "Meet you again, Peter Parker. You did a great job. Believe me, it won't be long before you will be popular all over the world." Zhu Ke said popular all over the world. At this moment, Tobey Maguire, who is very calm, felt his heartbeat suddenly accelerate. As a part of Hollywood, don't they dream of being famous? What's more, it is popular all over the world. In the original Time and Space, Tobey Maguire used the role of Spider-Man Peter Parker to become a world-famous movie superstar, but he had a golden start, and he later lost his game. "Hi, Miss Kirsten Dunst. Wow, you look pretty again," Zhu Ke said to the heroine of the film. "Thank you. Mr. Wald, you are also quite handsome." Kirsten Dunst bared his big white teeth. Well, business blows up everywhere. Don't look at Kirsten Dunst in the Spider-Man movie, just a vase role. But her acting skills are definitely not bad, even quite powerful. In 1994, she was shortlisted for Best Supporting Actress in the 52nd Golden Globe Award for the role of the little vampire girl in the thriller film Interview with a Vampire. At the same time, with this film, many people in the world know about her. After all, the two male protagonists of Interview with a Vampire are the hottest Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. In 1999, she starred in the feature film Girls Going Forward, with which she was nominated for the Best Film Actress in the Second Youth Choice Awards. Coincidentally, the winner of the Best Film Actor Award at the Second Youth Choice Awards in 1999 was Tobey Maguire, who said that actors in superhero movies have no acting skills. Don't you know that they are able to stand out from other competitors by virtue of their good acting skills? As we all know, the Marvel movie Captain Marvel was released in 2019. Brie Larson, who played the role of Captain Marvel, was madly dissed by fans all over the world, and was even ridiculed as Aunt Marvel. Why did Marvel choose her as Captain Marvel? That's because Brie Larson's acting skills are not bad. In 2015, Brie Larson won the Best Actress Oscar for that year with the film Room. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Robert Downey Jr. who plays Iron Man, Jennifer Lawrence, the eldest cousin who plays the Witchcraft. Wait, which one of them is not excellent in acting and has won awards one after another around the world? Therefore, to be able to appear in high-cost movies with superhero themes and science fiction films, the first prerequisite is to have acting skills. Even Shia LaBeouf, who played the actor in Transformers, was able to win the role, except because he was Spielberg's son. He was already well known in the United States before he played the role. Actor and director. But Shia LaBeouf later dismissed herself as well. For a moment, Zhuke's heart was filled with exclamation, Mr. Wald, the filming of Spider-Man will soon be over, and it is estimated that in 3 days, we will be able to complete the lens closure. Director Sam Raimi said. Zhuke sat behind the monitor and smiled. So how is the special effects follow-up? Special effects, Sam Raimi responded. Our special effects are Lucas's industrial light and magic work. Before the filming of the film, a lot of special effects work has been completed. During the filming period, it is also carried out simultaneously. It is expected that the final film will require 3 more months. Are enough, is it? At this moment, Zhuke suddenly thought of the issue of the release of the Spider-Man movie. Not surprisingly, www.wooksyaspitcom's Spider-Man movie must be released in the summer of 2000. However, there is a problem now. The 20th Century Fox Pictures X-Men 1 movie will also be released in the summer of 2000. Movies adapted from the same superheroes under the Marvel banner are similar to each other. Once the schedule conflicts, it is bound to have a significant impact on the box office of Spider-Man. The choice of schedule is very important, Zhu Ke murmured. Hi, Zhuke, you are here too? Suddenly there was a sound of surprise. Zhuke turned around and took a look. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, the owner of Industrial Light and Magic, and one of the creators of Indiana Jones. The first update is sent. Chapter 321, Shameless Operation of Wald Pictures. The visit of George Lucas surprised Zhuke. Of course you are surprised. Because I didn't come to you today. I made an appointment with Bill Mitnick. Well, according to Reason, he should be there soon. Lucas laughed suddenly. Zhuke's doubts disappeared. Although Lucas didn't say anything about finding old Bill, Zhuke had been in Hollywood for many years, and in a few words, he guessed the correct answer. Is it signing the follow-up supplementary agreement for the special effects production of the Spider-Man movie? Zhu Ke squinted. Hey, you know it. Lucas blinked at Zhuke. Some things can only be understood and cannot be said. The so-called supplementary agreement, to put it bluntly, is a means for Hollywood production companies to suppress investors' funds. That's right, it's pitting investors. In the circle of Hollywood studios, there is a vocabulary called special effects cost shift. The total production cost of the Spider-Man movie was originally planned to be $140 million. During the filming process, Wald Pictures added another $10 million, and the total cost climbed to $150 million among them. In addition to the investment of Wald Pictures itself, there are also 4 companies participating in the investment. Mexico Carlos Foundation, invest $30 million. Zim Inc., one of the 3 major theaters in the United States, invest $20 million. German Daimler, Benz, Automobile Group, invest $40 million. Indian Mountain Capital, investment of $40 million. Wald Pictures, invest $20 million. In terms of investment amount alone, Wald Pictures has invested the least money in the Spider-Man project, which is the same as Zim Inc. one of the three major theaters, with only $20 million invested. But in terms of income, Wald Pictures' income is definitely the most in the beginning. When the investment of $10 million, Wald Pictures, as the producer, enjoyed 15% of the final box office revenue. After an additional $10 million, the final benefit that he enjoys has increased by a small amount. In addition, Wald Pictures made another $14 million for tax rebates in Germany and stuffed them into Wald Pictures' own account, which has nothing to do with investors. Of course, there is also the income from the issuance business, which is also a large sum. In addition, there are copyright income, peripheral income, and offline market operation income. These are undoubtedly the majority of Wald Pictures further exploit the income of foreign investors. But, do you think this is the only thing? Is this the end? Do not. Too naive. The methods used by Hollywood production companies to deceive investors are simply too numerous. George Lucas of Industrial Light and Magic. Why did he ask Wald Pictures to sign a supplementary agreement? Because there is a vocabulary called special effects cost shifting. In terms of special effects contracts, Wald Pictures, as a production company, can swindle some investors' money. According to the market price, the special effects of Spider-Man can be done at $45 million. However, this does not meet the purpose of the producer. He just signed a $55 million special effects contract. The price has increased, but the special effects are still the same thing. Wald Pictures paid an extra $10 million. Has it lost? Not at all. There are also two movies, Reaper is Coming and Butterfly Effect. The special effects of these two films are also completed by Industrial Light and Magic. According to the market price, the package contract price is more than $17 million. However, the reality is, Wald Pictures only paid more than $7 million. Here comes the problem. Where does the money go? Wald Pictures is playing a trick. The film production company cooperated with a special effects company to reasonably and legally appropriate the investors' money in the Spider-Man project to the two projects, Reaper is Coming and Butterfly Effect. This kind of special effects contracts with high and low prices is a common method used by Hollywood film production companies to defraud investors everywhere. Therefore, as a big guy in the audience, you often find the special effects of certain high-cost movies, which is the same thing, and it feels not worth so much. The special effects of some low-cost movies can catch up with some high-cost blockbusters. Special effects. The effect is breathtaking. All these are reasonably misappropriated because of special effects costs. Not long. Bill Mitnick, president of Wald Pictures, came to the filming scene as scheduled. Old Bill, you can count on coming. When you come, sign the contract quickly. Lucas immediately gave Old Bill a bear hug. Old Bill greeted Zhu Ke first, and then asked the accompanying lawyer to review the contract. After a while, the contract was signed from start to finish. Zhu Ke is like an outsider. That's right, there's even a state of nothing to do with oneself, hanging up. In fact, this is another potential rule of the Hollywood film production industry. As the boss of the company, Zhu Ke, as the boss of the company, absolutely pretends to be ignorant of things like pit investors' money, high and low special effects price codes, and special effects cost shifting. Even if this method is reasonable and legal, Zhu Ke will pretend to one question and three questions. After all, it is shameless, and shameless after all it's not easy to say. Moreover, once the incident is exposed, it will definitely affect the image of Zhu Ke as the boss. Of course, Zhu Ke, who doesn't know anything about it, can also throw the pot in time and let others top the pot. Shameless. It's really shameless. But looking at the entire Hollywood, everyone is playing like this. Unexpectedly, Zhu Ke, one day, would become so shameless. Zhu Ke was a little nervous. Boss, everything speaks for profit. Bill Mitnick, who is always treacherous and slippery, laughed and said, I am also yearning for the gentleman style where the clear is clear and the muddy is turbid, but this kind of person who cannot survive in Hollywood will become a stranger. It will be an outlier being attacked by groups. I see. Zhu Ke nodded heavily. Unconventional style of doing things. It's a joke in Hollywood. If you want to be a part of Hollywood, you have to learn to coexist. Zhu Ke himself as a person who regards wealth as fate, not a diehard who advertises morality, so these little bumps will soon disappear in Zhu Ke's heart. How about being shameless? Even if I pit some investors' money, it is implemented within the rules of the game. Anyway, I still make money for investors. In this regard, my character is much better than DreamWorks. In the following time, Zhu Ke's face was again covered with a harmless smile. What? Just when Zhu Ke was about to record something in his notebook, he suddenly found that the ballpoint pen on the small table beside him was gone. Mr. Wald, are you looking for a ballpoint pen? Director Sam Raimi said suddenly. Oh? You know, Zhu asked. Of course. Sam Raimi grinned at Zucker, and immediately yelled at James Franco, who was resting not far away, playing the little green devil. Hugh Lanlin, you bastard, are you? What about holding sheep again? Hugh Lanlin ran over and said aggrieved, Director, I didn't have a ballpoint pen. Did I say it was a ballpoint pen? Director Sam squinted and smiled. Wooks yaspit calm Fu Lanlin, Sam Raimi said to Zucker. Mr. Wald, don't you know that I have to throw a few ballpoint pens here on average every day, all of which are taken away by this kid? Hey, this quirk, I don't know what to say. After a pause, he said, Franco, don't you hurry up, Mr. Wald is waiting to use it. As soon as he finished speaking, Hewlin grievedly took out 2 ballpoint pens from his pockets. Hugh was dumbfounded. Hugh Lanlin's ability to handle sheep easily. That's okay. In the last life, Zhu has heard more than once some of the quirks of Hollywood stars, one of which is to go hand in hand. Many stars have this quirk, and they can't be changed. The second update is sent. Chapter 322, Paramount releases Goodwill. The next day after visiting the crew of Spider-Man the day before, Zhu visited other crews of Wald Pictures that are currently shooting movies today, Reaper is Coming and Butterfly Effect, and, by coincidence, the movie Death is Coming will be closed today. Mr. Wald, you are welcome. As the film director James Wong Yidayu, of The God of Death is Coming, Zhu presents a joy in his heart. All directors are willing to have a good relationship with a production company. This is their way of survival. Mr. Wald, good morning. The actors and actresses of the movie Reaper is Coming also eagerly greet. Zhu Devon Sava, male, and Ali Larder, female, are officially the male and female protagonists of the movie Death is Coming. Although they are not well known, even 10 years later, they have not become popular in Hollywood. The first-line star of the movie, but his personal performance is not bad. Hugh didn't favor one or the other. He still had a pleasant conversation with them. Finally, when only the director James Wong was left around, he entered the subject. Director Wong, Kevin Fitch should have told you, when will Death is Coming be released? Zhu said. Yes. James Wong nodded heavily and said, Mr. Fitch informed me that Reaper is Coming must be completed and released by the end of October. Having said that, James Wong suddenly felt a sense of urgency. You must know that it is the end of September, and it is less than a month before the end of October. Even though the movie Death is Coming will be closed today, it will be edited, dubbed, scored, and submitted to the American Film Association for review. All takes time. 1 month is really urgent. We all understand your concerns. Zhu smiled and said, I have learned about the special effects work of the movie from Lucas yesterday, and it has basically been completed. Only some finishing work is left. Therefore, there are not too many concerns about special effects. For post-editing, dubbing, scoring and other aspects of work, I will also dispatch a group of elites from Wald Pictures to work overtime to complete it. Of course, the most important thing is still the review of the American Film Association. When the voice fell, James Wong nodded. As far as I know, the review and grading committee of the American Film Association generally takes more than 1 month, or even longer, to review non-Big Six films, said James Wong. The classification committee under the American Film Association has always been Hollywood's 6 private places. The only 7 seats are currently occupied by Universal, Warner, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, Disney, Sony Columbus, and the former Hollywood giant MGM. The seat of the grading committee is one of the hallmarks of Hollywood giants. You are not the Big Six companies, and you do not have the background of the Big Six behind the scenes, so the review and rating of the films you submit will inevitably be made difficult. Delaying the review time is one of the common methods. Haha. Don't worry. Although Wald Pictures is not a top Hollywood giant, and does not have a seat on the classification committee, I am confident that they will not block my neck in review and classification. Zhu believes. Oh, James Wong immediately showed a look of shock. Zhu's words are by no means arrogant. Today's Wald Pictures, not everyone can easily handle it. Are there any questions now? Zhu asked with a smile. Director James Wong immediately promised, there is no problem. I am sure I can let the movie Death is Coming to be released during Halloween. As for the film's trial screening, premiere, and theater arrangement, waiting for these questions, he didn't ask too much, because he knew that Wald Pictures could easily handle all of this. Halloween schedule has always been a hot schedule for horror thriller movies. Naturally, Wald Pictures will not miss it. In previous years, Wald Pictures successively launched the Deadly Bend series and the Human Removal Project series, which have always been popular films in the Halloween schedule and are highly anticipated by movie fans. However, this year Wald Pictures did not launch a new sequel to these two films. It's too late, whether it's a new episode of the Fatal Bend series or a new episode of the Human Removal Project. Zhu Ke can guarantee that once it is released, it will reap a lot of box office, but in order to extend the life cycle of these two movie series, Zhu Ke decided to suspend for 1 year to maintain a sense of anticipation and freshness this year's Halloween schedule. The owners of Wald Movies play Death is Coming. In the afternoon, Zhu Ke came to the crew of Butterfly Effect again. Director Todd Phillips and Christopher Nolan prepared everything early. Michael Fassbender as the actor, Amy Adams as the heroine. When the crew saw Zhu Ke's arrival, they immediately burst into shouts and applause. I have nothing to say. If there is, I will only say that you did a great job. Do you think I'm exaggerating you? Yes, I'm just praising you guys. Oh my god, your job is done so well. As the boss, if I can't see this, am I blind? Todd Phillips, you lovely fellow. When you were the deputy director of the Go Talent variety show a few years ago, I thought you should come to make a movie. As expected, you didn't even know you were making a movie. How outstanding. Christopher Nolan, you are the second director of The Butterfly Effect, co-directing this film with Todd Phillips. You did a pretty good job. Well, you said you planned to take a break. Now if you have enough rest, I will do it. There are many projects here, waiting for you to be the director, whether it's the male and female starring actors or other people on the crew. Zhu Ke first praised him fiercely. Well, anyway, he said something nice and didn't cost money. Why not? For the directors Todd Phillips and Christopher Nolan, Zhu Ke is naturally an unspeakable favorite. After all, they can make good movies for Zhu Ke and make money for themselves. Nolan needn't say more. The Batman, The Dark Knight trilogy, Inception and other films, but pushed him to the altar in one fell swoop, is called Nolan God by everyone. Todd Phillips is currently a rookie director, yes, but he is definitely waiting for him. The low-cost film host series, each of which has swept hundreds of millions of dollars in the box office worldwide. How is he as a general director? As a director, what's more, the famous Joker 2019 movie was also directed by Todd Phillips. A New Day, The Sun is Shining. Zhu Ke received an invitation from Paramount Pictures about the film project of Tomb Raider. What, Jordan? You didn't make a mistake, old man. Yes. I intend to join your Tomb Raider project, but I only have the idea of participating in investment. Not the idea of being a producer myself. You know, I'm very busy. For nearly a year, Zhu Ke has been very busy. Even for his own movies, Zhu Ke has no time to be a producer in person. What about the invitation of Paramount now? Jordan said on the phone. Zhu Ke, although I am a member of Paramount, I have my own position, but now I take the position of a friend, and I think you should accept this invitation. It is from the top 6 in Hollywood. One of the kindness of Paramount Pictures invite, bona fide, Zhu Ke. In fact, Zhu Ke knew what Jordan meant. You reading www. Can't you come? There is a lot of stalemate and competition among the major Hollywood studios, but there is no lack of cooperation. Zhu Ke, you have to know one thing. Wald Pictures has always done the production work alone, which is not conducive to expanding your network, and will make others think you are a lone wolf. You know, the major Hollywood studios, 4 lone wolves, that is definitely going to be suppressed. As a friend, I think you should think about it. If you accept this invitation and become the producer of the Tomb Raider project, it is equivalent to accepting Paramount's goodwill. Then your relationship with Paramount will inevitably be more cooperation than competition in the future. Similarly, the 6 major companies, including Universal, Sony, Columbia, and Disney, will cooperate with you more in the future. Then, only in this way can your Wald Pictures have more room for survival. Jordan's remarks can be said to be rough and not rough. The first update is sent. Chapter 323, Tomb Raider Project. Viacom Group. It is the parent company of Paramount, one of the 6 largest Hollywood media groups, and the 3rd largest media group in the United States, second only to the existence of Time Warner Group and News Corporation. It has 39 local TV stations and dozens of TV stations across the United States. This radio station is very powerful. In addition, it also owns MTV, a music TV station that is extremely profitable. You must know that MTV Music TV station, but the world's largest music TV station, is not one of them. It can provide Viacom Group with more than $7 billion in revenue every year. However, at the moment, Summer Redstone, chairman of Viacom Group, is very angry. Asshole, this bastard. First, my dearest son Brent, he actually took me to court and accused me, saying that I used a campaign to force him out of the family business, and it made a lot of noise and made me lost in front of the people all over the world face. But now, I never thought that my most beloved nephew, Michael, would even dare to sue me. Will you claim $4 billion from me? What, are you kidding? Why didn't he say that I would give him the entire Paramount Pictures? At this moment, the 76-year-old Emperor Lei Shidong of Paramount completely turned into an extremely angry lion, and His Majesty still existed for a long time. Sentence after sentence against his son and nephew. They scolded them for being ungrateful and disregarding the affection between father and son. Yesterday afternoon, the Los Angeles District Court opened. Lei Shidong attended the trial as the defendant. He saw 3 people he didn't want to see, and the blood pressure came up. Former wife, Phyllis; son, Brent; nephew, Michael. The 3 of them are my enemies. They don't want to squeeze money from me all the time. They are vampires and disgusting assholes. They should go to and be judged by Satan. They should be thankful that it is not a medieval era, otherwise they will definitely be slaughtered one by one. Lei Shidong gritted his teeth and cursed again. For a while, the entire large office was silent, and none of the group executives present dared to speak. Dad, it hurts me so badly. The only person who dared to speak stood up. She was Redstone's daughter, Sally, 40 years old currently. She is also working for Viacom Group as one of the executives and one of the heirs of the old fellow Redstone. The angry Lei Shidong saw his daughter Sally talking, and suddenly laughed. A lot of anger show a rare gentleness. Sally, you still love me, Dad? It's not like the 3 of Phyllis, Brent, and Michael. Lei Shidong said solemnly. After hearing this, Sally said immediately, don't worry, Dad, I am not my mother Phyllis, nor my brother Brent, let alone Michael. I will always support your decision. At this moment, Redstone's secretary Joanna knocked on the office door and pushed in. Boss, Mr. Jordan from Paramount Pictures, and Mr. Zhu Ke Wald are here, Secretary Joanna said. Oh, in an instant, Lei Shidong, whose eyes were still slightly muddy just now, flashed with energy. Joanna, you can bring in Zhu Ke Wald and Jordan. Well, as for the others to do their own things, you can save Sally, Redstone ordered. Yes, boss. Yes, Dad, everyone responded, and after a few seconds, only Lei Shidong and his daughter Sari were left in the huge office. Dad, I heard that you asked Zhu Ke Wald to come over to make him the producer of the Tomb Raider project. Shari asked. Yes, fortunately, when he talked about this, Lei Shidong, who had just put out a lot of fire, burst out with a rage in his heart. This bunch of trash. So far, the performance of Paramount Pictures this year has made Redstone, who has always been dissatisfied with the old and strong, very dissatisfied. As of the end of September 1999, only one of the top 10 films in the North American annual box office rankings was produced and distributed by Paramount Pictures. Moreover, the film The Running Bride, which occupies the top 10 rankings, was jointly produced and distributed by Disney Pictures and Paramount Pictures, and was not led and independently completed by Paramount. Paramount Pictures, one of the 6 largest, still need to be the face of the overlord. Are you ashamed? Compared with other companies that are the same as Hollywood's top 6, their performance is far worse. Take a look at the other films produced by Paramount Pictures on the list. The best performing film is Devil Crisis, but in North America, it only got a box office of $116 million, which does not match the top 6. One of the status. More importantly, this movie lost money, well, at least, but relying on the profit at the box office, the cost cannot be recovered. As for other movies, hey, let's not talk about it. At most it is a small profit. The performance is far worse than the previous year. Of course, last year's performance was not very good, Lei Shidong said angrily. Anyone can hear that he is extremely dissatisfied with Paramount Pictures' performance. Had it not been for the absence of suitable talents to take over Paramount, with his violent temper, the entire Paramount executives would have been cleared out long ago. Shari wondered. Zhu Ke Wald, as the producer of the Tomb Raider project, will definitely be able to get a high box office and reshape the 6 dignities of Paramount. She always felt that Zhu Ke was too young, a little unreliable. Oh my god, a producer in his 20s, no matter how good he is, where can he go? Haha. Redstone smiled and said. Don't think that Zhu Ke Wald is young, so you can despise him. You are not responsible for the group's film and television entertainment projects, so you don't know enough about him, but, looking at his screenwriter and producer's works, whether it is the early Lola Run, or the recent Spartan 300 Warriors, or even the animated film Finding Nemo, it is a rare one. The boutiques I have seen have achieved high-yield box office results. After a pause, he said, if he is not capable, how can he become the youngest billionaire? Of course, Lei Shidan didn't say a word. The Tomb Raider project was originally a game project. Paramount Pictures obtained the copyright of the film and television adaptation. Zhu Ke once asked Paramount for the purchase. As a result, naturally there was no suspense, was rejected. Zhu Ke, who smelled blood like a shark, was naturally unwilling to simply give up. After a lot of hard work, he absolutely invested in capital and joined the project of Tomb Raider. Although Zhu Ke isn't shameless enough, but his vision is not bad, maybe the Tomb Raider project has a head start. The executives of Paramount Pictures are speculating thanks to the recent explosion of Finding Nemo. Paramount's boss Thunderstone Dongfang proposed that Zhu Ke join the Tomb Raider project as a producer. Well, Zhu Ke seemed silly throughout the buying process, but in fact, Zhu Ke also has bad intentions and ulterior motives. The knock on the door sounded again. Hi, Zhu Ke, you guys are finally here. Redstone stood up to welcome and gave Zhu Ke a big hug. Naturally, Zhu Ke was lied about. www.uxiaspit.com. This is my daughter Sally, my best heir. Lei Shidan introduced his daughter. Zhu Ke was immediately happy when he saw it. The best heir. Funny. Lei Shidan's recent property dispute with his ex-wife, son, and nephew, Zhu Ke paid close attention to him, and became a savage eater. As for Redstone's daughter, and he is the best heir. Sally in his mouth. Zhu Ke is a traverser, but he knows that in 2012, Redstone and Sally's father and daughter had a fiercely tour. It made a lot of turmoil, and it was much more turbulent than the previous family turmoil. Even more, the two broke apart publicly, claiming to be immortal and not to each other. Tusk precious father-daughter affection, but there will be a time when you will be forced. Zhu Ke secretly smiled. The second update is sent. Chapter 324, Set up a game company. The dialogue between Zhu Ke and Lei Shidan can be described as unexpectedly smooth. Of course, apart from Zhu Ke and Redstone herself, there is only one Lisa who knows the details of what happened, and outsiders do not know, but there is no shortage of well-informed people in the United States, let alone speculation. So that evening, a local newspaper in Los Angeles published the news. Zhu Ke Wald meets Lei Shidan, chairman of Viacom Group. What exactly does he intend to do? This newspaper, called the Chasing Wind News, cited multiple speculations in the article. M&A, as we all know, AOL is now negotiating mergers and acquisitions with Time Warner Group. So, will Viacom Group, which is also a media empire, also adopt mergers and acquisitions? The target of mergers and acquisitions is the Golden Dawn under Zhu Ke Wald Entertainment Group. It's not too big to watch the excitement. Talking about this group of media, everyone knows the media's unethical and unrestricted ethics. In order to pursue hot topics, selling points, and interests, the primary point of the news reported by them is to get more attention from readers. Obviously, they succeeded. That night, the new issue of the evening news of Zifeng News was sold out in just a few hours. Nebel Joe, the owner of the Chase News newspaper, looked at the performance report and grinned and said, "This Zhu Ke Wald is indeed a hot spot for mobile, and now I have tied him and Redstone to reporting together. Really attracted a lot of people's attention. I want to make it with them, boss. What should I do next?" an editor-in-chief asked. Idiot. Nebel Joe loudly said, "Of course it is a series of reports lasting for at least a week. Does this still need me to teach you? God will not forgive me if I have money or not. Amen." At the same time, other tabloid newspapers in the United States are not to be outdone. I took a lot of manpower at the first time and wrote articles quickly. Quick guys, we've got the Nebel Joe from the Chasing News one step ahead. We are behind, and now we have to catch up. Time is money, the boss of the media newspaper constantly urged his employees. The hot spot is money, which is their pursuit and survival capital, boss. Zhu Ke Wald and Redstone are not easy to provoke. They are media tycoons and have a strong and large team of lawyers. We can't afford to provoke them. An employee worried, afraid of a fart. You, the boss disdainfully said, "They are strong, but I am not a vegetarian. Is it possible that they can still cover the sky with one hand? I have no other skills, but I am bold. In a word, no one can stop me from making money. This it is the right granted to every citizen by American law, and God cannot deprive it." Various reports have appeared frequently, and conspiracy theories have continued whether it was online or offline. Guyi attracted the attention of the masses and started crazy discussions, real or fake. Viacom Group wants to acquire Mr. Wald's company. It should be impossible. As far as I know, Mr. Wald just cashed out billions of dollars in cash from the stock market not long ago, and he will not be short of money. I think it might be true. It is well known that Paramount Pictures under Viacom, which has cooperated with Wald Pictures under Zucker for several years, is a senior partner, and now it comes together again. Even further, it is entirely possible, the 6 major Hollywood companies. Isn't it common for them to buy second and third tier film companies? No doubt, the rumors, the fragrance, the simplicity and the confusion. For a time, Viacom Group acquired the media of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group, which can be described as flying everywhere. It was called the tumultuous, dusty noise Golden Shugwang Entertainment Group. Assistant Alexander frowned and said, "Boss, do you want to send the company's legal department to send a warning to these media?" Hearing this, Zhu Ke waved his thugs and said, "You don't need to send a letter. Even though it's fake news, isn't it also a publicity to us? These media know that they are all human beings." Boom boom boom. At this moment, a knock on the door sounded, and the person here was Victor, CEO of Golden Dawn Entertainment Group. Victor said straightforwardly, "Boss, you have decided to cooperate with Paramount Pictures as the producer of the Tomb Raider project. I agree. This will deepen our contact with the Big Six and will not let we are under the target of public criticism." Zhu Ke laughed when the words fell. Victor spoke again. "The main purpose of my coming here is not the Tomb Raider project, but I think the company's Wald Pictures will expand its staff, expand manpower." Zhu Ke raised his brow. "Lack of people, boss. Throughout this year, Wald Pictures has produced many popular movies such as My Grand Greek Wedding, 300 Spartan Warriors, Blair the Witch, and Finding Nemo, but our system compared with the Big Six and DreamWorks, the number of films is far different." As Victor spoke, he gave Zhu a set of data as of the end of September this year. The number of films produced by Wald Pictures was only 6, which is a certain increase compared to the same period last year. However, compared with the Big Six, this production volume is simply a younger brother. As of the end of September, the Disney Group has launched 14 films in succession. Warner Brothers Pictures released 13 films, Sony Columbia Pictures released 11 films, DreamWorks Pictures, known as the number 1 under the Big Six, also released 9 films. Boss, this is just the number of films produced by the Big Six and DreamWorks itself. If you add in the sub-film companies they have invested in and controlled, the number will be even more." Victor said solemnly. If a film company wants to grow, in addition to having high-quality movies, it also needs to have a strong ability to produce multiple movies. There are not enough films. How can we have a certain right to speak in the theater? Is Wald Pictures strong enough at this stage? No. Currently, Wald Pictures is producing only 4 films, Spider-Man, Harry Potter, Reaper, and Butterfly Effect. This is already at the limit. Looking back at the Big Six and DreamWorks, their manpower and strength can ensure that they can produce more than 8 movies at the same time, and even more, and there will be no stretched manpower shortage. There are so many talents. In a word, the manpower of Wald Pictures is seriously insufficient. The lack of talent is even worse. I agree, whether it's hiring or digging, I only look at the results. Zhu Ke thought. Yes, boss. Victor was immediately energetic, and there is no doubt that the volume of Wald Pictures will expand in the near future. www.wuxias.com. Not long after, Zhu is the only one left in the huge office. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a brief list of personnel from Baok Game Company, which was founded in 2000. Baok Game Company. Is this system suggesting that I create a game company? While Zhu Ke was puzzled, he had never heard of the name Baok Game Company. After all, Zhu Ke played games in his previous life and paid little attention to the production company behind his games. However, not long after, damn it, the game Plants vs. Zombies was actually made by this Baok Game Company. The first update is sent. Chapter 325, Baok Game Company. Profile of Baok Game Company. It is a game based on puzzle and casual games created in Seattle in 2000 by college dropouts John Witch, Brian Fett, and former Apple computer engineer Jason Kuboka. The company at the beginning of the establishment of Baok Game Company, it can only be described as miserable and miserable. Except for the 3 of them, there is no other employee in the entire company. Moreover, the 3 of them are very pure computer game engineers. They have no plans at all. They eat and play games every day. They are also developing a game based on Ark Operation. Unfortunately, there are no buyers who are willing to spend money to buy their game copyrights. As a result, they can only save money and eat instant noodles for more than 5 months. Oh, it's really miserable. This is also in the United States. If it is in the Great Heavenly Dynasty, as a parent of a family, you will be killed if you are not beaten or beaten. It's a neck toss. Looking at the information in his mind, Zhu Ke couldn't help but sigh. Zhu will not mention it for the time being. Even when he was the most impoverished in his previous life, he lived better than the three of them. Even if you eat instant noodles for more than 5 months, Iron Man can't hold it. For this reason, the three founders decided to go with the sword. They worked hard day and night and finally produced a PG-13 level animation strip poker game. Well, it's the kind of bad game in which the opponent, computer character, takes off a piece of clothing in a vulgar win. Furthermore, they contacted several websites and wanted to sell the copyright of the game. However, none of the websites are interested. Hey, this third brother really has no bottom line. When you are short of money, you can even do this kind of thing. Zhu Ke sneered, and then changed his mind. If I am so short of money, maybe I have no bottom line than them. Tusk, I really laugh at the poor and don't laugh. Who would have thought that the well-known company that produced the Plants vs. Zombies game, the game it started, turned out to be a bad game? Well, the kind that didn't make any money. In 2001, the Zhu game company formed by them released a new game called Bejeweled, which is a puzzle and casual elimination game. Oh, Bejeweled game, similar to games like Zioxeol. Well, it's really an elimination game. Zhu Games signed a cooperation agreement with Microsoft for this game. And once it was released on the MSN platform, it was well received. This game is on MSN, and its daily active users can reach more than 60,000, and the number of simultaneous online users at its peak is more than 150,000. Zhu Game Company finally made money. However, the bulk of the game's revenue has gone into the pocket of MSN as the platform. The income to Zhu Game Company is almost negligible, and at most it is only $1,500 per month. At the beginning of the 21st century, there were so many small workshop game companies like Zhu in the United States. However, Zhu Game Company, which emerged from adversity in this way, developed and expanded in just a few years. In 2004, its market valuation was as high as $60 million. In 2007, its market valuation rose further, reaching $120 million. Most importantly, in 2009, Zhu Game Company released the Plants vs. Zombies series of games, which became popular all over the world in one fell swoop. Since then, not to mention the overall value of Zhu Game Company, the game Plants vs. Zombies alone is worth more than $1 billion. A magical game company, the Associated Press commented after reviewing the information in his mind. Zhu Ke couldn't help but be surprised. It can be successful. It's really an unusual experience. Yes, who would dare to underestimate Zhu to open a game company? Plants vs. Zombies game. Who does not know? Who does not know? There is nothing to say. Of course it is to take it. In fact, Zucker's idea of a game company is definitely not a day or two. It can be said to have been coveted for a long time. Who makes game companies make money? Somewhere in Seattle, John Vich, who had just resigned from a local game company in Seattle, came to the home of his classmate and friend Brian Fitt with a grimace on his face, and sat down on the sofa. What's the matter, man? Brian Fitt, sitting in front of the computer, cared. John Vich pondered for 10 seconds, then looked up and asked, man, do you dare to imagine? Just now, I received my mother's wedding invitation again. Mom's wedding invitation, haha. Brian Fitt laughed. I said, buddy, I remember this is your mother's third marriage. Wrong, so wrong. Hearing this, John Vich, covering his face, immediately jumped up from the sofa and said loudly, counting this time, I already have 7 stepfathers. Do you dare to imagine? Brian Fitt, he was speechless. Anyone who has 7 stepfathers will have a big head. John Vich said again, I forgot to tell you. In fact, I still have 2 stepmothers. At this moment, Rao was dumbfounded by Brian Fitt, and he couldn't help but laugh. It was too funny. Okay, let's not mention these. After a long time, Brian Fitt said seriously, you have resigned from VRED Game Company for a month. What do you plan to do in the future? Is to continue to find a job, or start a game company? Of course, no matter what you do, I support you. Thank you. At this moment, John Vich, who has always been inconsistent, only felt greatly moved. It's rare in the world to be friends to the point of Brian Fitt. 3 years ago, John and Brian were both undergraduates at Purdue University. Brian Fitt was also a genius in the Department of Computer Science at Purdue University. He was ranked number 1 for 2 consecutive years. However, when John proposed to drop out of school and create a game, Brian, a friend and computer genius, agreed without any hesitation. Just ask, how many people are able to stab at friends like Brian Fett? Too little, it's so rare. I plan to create a game company, our own game company, John Vichy said firmly. Do you still have money? Brian Fett said. This is like pouring down a basin of cold water. John spread his hands, his face full of bitterness. I have no money. Hearing this, Brian suddenly patted his forehead. Penny stumps heroes, and nothing is nonsense if there is no money. Not long ago, John and Brian were also lavish. Not long after they dropped out of Purdue University, the two of them created a board and card game. It didn't take long for them to make $45,000. They later sold the game copyright and bought another $100,000. At the time, John was only 19 years old. Such a speed of money coming is no less than the surprise of a later generation winning the lottery. However, in just 2 months, the two of them spent a lot of time and drink all day. And they quickly squandered this sum of hundreds of thousands of dollars. No money now. Deserve it. If you want to start a game company, there is no way without money. For a while www.wooksyaspit.com John and Brian were worried. At this moment, Jason Kuboka, a former Apple computer engineer who was a friend of the two, rushed in with excitement. Guys, our chance is here. Just now, I received a call. He is Mr. Zhu Ke Wald's assistant. The famous Golden Dawn Entertainment Group will form a game company and invite us to join and become the chief designer. Jason Kuboka's voice fell. Both John and Brian were stunned. Brian was shocked. Are you sure it is Mr. Zhu Ke Wald's company? Not a liar? Jason Kuboka immediately retorted. Man, don't forget that I used to be a computer engineer at Apple. I met Mr. Zhu Ke Wald. The second update is sent. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.